for the first time ever in the Saban era over a 3-year period. I mean, I don't know. That's up to y'all, okay? And don't come at me. You're just at that point, you're just yelling at a poor little kid. You're stealing Canterbury. I'm out here worried about going 10-3. I'm out here worried about beating Graham Mertz, okay? My problems are not your problems. So you deal with whatever you got to deal with, okay? I'm out here trying to make sure Garrett Nussmeier might have to be ready to go against Graham Mertz and Billy Lampier.
Thank you, T-Bob. Have a great week.
Y'all take it easy.
All right, buddy. See you, T-Bob, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I did think one of the most amazing parts of that game was Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe putting Harold Perkins in the dirt in the end zone. Put him in the dirt.
Yep.
That's Harold Perkins, guys, and that's a quarterback.
Harold Perkins, surprisingly, with 6 tackles and 1 sack. I don't remember the 6 tackles. I remember the 1 sack that Milroe held the ball forever. I don't remember the 6 tackles. Harold Perkins, who's one of the better defensive players in America, was a zero factor.
He was,
in that
again,
game.
A quarterback putting him in the dirt in the end zone was crazy.
Our friends at the University of Montevallo want to remind you that as your son or daughter approach junior or senior year in high school level, or maybe you want to go back to school, keep Montevallo in mind. Montevallo.edu. 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports, and so much more, including new theater department, music department buildings, business schools, and everything else that continues to grow at Montevallo. Find out for yourself. Check out the price point as well, montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. All right, always good when a guy comes back on a show after he's talked a little crap. And he's such a good-spirited guy, and he always makes me think. I love me some T-Bob Hebert. I think he's a creative guy and love the fact that he'll come back and circle back.
Yeah. I am really surprised going back to SEC Media Days that LSU's in this spot. I thought year 2, well, you're seeing it right now with Kalen DeBoer. You're seeing it with Dan Lanning. I mean, year 2 for really good coaches and good programs, they usually jump up. It hasn't happened for USC and it hadn't happened for LSU, and both of those are really surprising.
Garrett Nussmeier in the swamp, that's a tricky game for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If Jay Daniels plays and he's 100%, then they're fine, I think. But Garrett Nussmeier, it's a tricky game. And Florida's not great.
You guys asked the question about Caleb Williams. Why would Jaden Daniels not use this concussion as an opportunity to not play again?
He may.
Yeah, he might.
And it may be perfectly legitimate, too.
Yeah, because right now he's a first-round quarterback.
I think he is. Well, there's a lot of first-round guys right now.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a heavy quarterback draft. It's a really good – because I think Bo Nix has played himself into the first round.
Yeah. By the way, I remember I read you this past week, 10 quarterback matchups, 5 quarterback games, 10 quarterbacks that sucked in the NFL. There's room for these guys to go play well or go up there and be bad like all these other guys who we thought were going to be good, to go up there and play bad and then shuffle in some new guys. Quarterback play in the NFL,
I'll tell you this.
It's down.
Brett Rippon starting for the Rams yesterday.
Was that bad?
He is awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, awful. And Jordan Love ain't much better.
How's Clayton Tune for Arizona? 53 yards they had. 53 yards, Jim. In an NFL football game, they had 53 yards of offense.
And I'm afraid, and I forgot who we had the conversation. I think it was Brock Hewitt on Unlocked. The NFL trade deadline doesn't go deep enough into the season. Because, I mean, you really, once you get to this point, like, and you're sitting at 3-6, like, I don't think Matt Stafford's coming back.
But that's half the season. Why would it go further? I don't want you to be able to
Well, baseball goes a lot deeper.
Baseball plays 162 games, and it shouldn't go as deep as it does. Is it fair that Max Scherzer, if he was still a shell of himself, could have won a championship this year playing that deep into the season, not for the team?
Daniel Jones is out for the season now with an ACL. I do not know how the Giants went into another week with Tommy DeVito as your backup quarterback.
Well, I can't believe they got beat like they got beat. That was
But how do you go another week with DeVito as your backup when Josh Dobbs was out there, who's obviously better than Tommy freaking DeVito?
Yeah, you can pick anybody off any practice squad, by the way. I mean, for nothing, you can go get anybody off a practice squad. All right, there's the show. That's a Monday reaction, and we got an added T-Bob experience for you as well. Can't beat that. Hang around. Don't go anywhere. Overtime is next. We'll get to overtime. You'll hear from Nick Saban going into the Kentucky game, road game that would clinch a spot with a win in the SEC championship game if Georgia handles Ole Miss. So possibility of Atlanta being clinched this week in Lexington. We'll hear from Nick Saban coming up on the other side in overtime, and then Hugh Freeze as they try for bowl eligibility after Arkansas. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, live show now as we get going, and a lot to get to, including Brandon Marcello, friend of the show, who will join us at 10:25 today, middle of the second hour. So we'll bump Upset Alert back a segment if you're tuning in for the Brown Bandit pick today. That'll come in around 10:45 Central Time, part of Hour 2. This Thursday night, we're back at the Grocery Brew Pub in Homewood for our Bud Light game night. Look forward to that happening, and it should be a lot of fun. You know, time flies by so quickly, men. It just flies by. Carl Torbush passing away yesterday.
Saw that. I didn't see there was no cause of death. 72 years old.
72 years old. He was in Tuscaloosa as the defensive coordinator with Dennis Franchione back in 2001, 2002. Was the guy that followed up Mac Brown when Mac left North Carolina the first time as the head coach of the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I got to know him a little bit when he was in Tuscaloosa. Not great. I mean, we weren't tight buddies or anything, but just a casual relationship, and he was a very, very nice man. And I always thought a really good defensive coordinator. He was one of those that, you know, unfortunately, when he got his head coaching opportunity, it just didn't work out. But was an excellent defensive coordinator, very well respected in the industry, and in my dealings with him, always a very, very nice man.
Damn, Smuff says over in the chat that he was diagnosed with ALS.
Yeah. God, I hate to hear that.
I did not see the details, so ALS.
Well, that would have been quick.
Yeah. He's been out of the public eye for quite a while, though.
Yeah.
He has been 72 years old, and I brought it up not to talk about his death, but to talk about his life, as we often do. A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama did a lot in the SEC over the years. Those Franchione's defenses were pretty darn good.
Yeah, and there was a minute where it looked like he might be the Alabama head coach when all that mess went down. And you know, it never worked out for him to be the Alabama head coach. He was the North Carolina head coach, but his defenses were very good. Always, you know, and if you'll remember, the reason he became the North Carolina head coach was Mac Brown's original stint at North Carolina. They were always the second best team in the ACC.
That's right.
Problem was, Florida State was always the best team in the SEC. And they never could get over that Florida State hump. Every time they would play head-to-head, Florida State would whip them. But the thing they were known for was their dominant defenses. Carl Torbush's defenses were really, really good.
And I remember Torbush wore Oakley blades a lot, right?
I think he did. I think you're right about that. Yeah.
I bring up the time passing, his death, but in the overtime yesterday, if you hung around with us all the way till the end, my pain medication, which I'm still on, had really kicked in by the end of that. And I had done some math earlier today in the shower. If you're a male who is 60 years old. Remember when I talked about this yesterday?
I do, yes.
Was this on the air? I can't remember.
It was very much on the air in the bonus hour, yes.
It was the closing of the
it was
Q-Freeze
the
press
way we
conference.
wrapped an entire Monday of a show after an Alabama LSU win and 2 press conferences, yes.
We'll use 50 as an example. If you're a male 50 years old, you've been alive for about 22% of American history. Is that not mind-boggling?
Yeah.
Like the history of America, you've seen over 1/5 of it in your lifetime. If you're 60 years old, then it's a quarter, 24.2%.
Wait, so did you come across this article, or you just randomly came up with math in your head in the shower?
I was just thinking about it in the shower.
I'm not going to trust your calculations then.
You're not?
No.
Well, just think about it. 247 years from 1776 to now. And if you're 50 years old, do the math, LT, in your head right there.
That's
do the
over
simple
20%.
Math. That's
yeah.
over 20%. That's easy math. Challenge my math on a Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, right?
It is Tuesday, yes. Yeah. And I can tell your meds make you a little giddy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I'm on different meds today. I'm straight old-fashioned Toradol today. All the newfangled stuff is
that's
gone.
That's the sideline drug of choice for the injured players.
That's right. That's right. My high ankle sprain is not bothering me right now.
I have been told by many college football players that Toradol shot to make you get you anywhere you want to go.
Well, it really works within 15 minutes. I would love to have that just sitting by. The pill's not as effective as the injection is.
Yeah,
I think there's probably a reason you don't have access to it.
You're probably limited on how many of those you could take in a
probably so
24 to 48 hour period.
Probably so. But I've been dealing with a little back issue or hip issue or a sciatic nerve issue or pulled muscle. We don't know what it is yet, but I had more tests yesterday. But we're going to work through it today. But that gets us this little time conversation I started off to the fact that basketball season started yesterday. And it just flies by. It feels just like yesterday. We were paying off a bracket challenge at the Wiener Festival that Brown went to. What was it called?
It was a testicle festival, a different part of the anatomy gym. It was where I ate bull testicles and other animal testicles I'm not aware of.
And that you just lost the bracket challenge, it seems like yesterday.
That was late in the summer, very warm there in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
We had Monday Night Football last night, and we had
somebody tell the Jets
120. We had 120 or so Division I basketball games yesterday. Did you watch any basketball last night, either one of you?
No.
I did not.
I watched Monday Night Football.
I watched the Lakers. I had the Lakers in the heat on.
I don't know why I watched
and then Monday Night Football. But, I looked around for the Bama game, and then it was on SEC Plus or
ESPN Plus, yeah.
I think it was SEC Plus, too. Yeah, you could have gotten it.
Yeah, well, I watch it on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, you get it free on SEC Plus, or you pay to watch it on ESPN Plus. Always a weird thing to me, like when you go to that screen, and it's like, do you want it on ESPN Plus premium or pay here or whatever, or SEC Plus for free? I'm like, let me think through that one. I'm going to go SEC Plus for free.
So Brown and I did
I don't get the SEC Plus prompt. I don't know why.
Monday night show for Lance's Lock, and so we previewed a little bit of the Monday night. We talked a little basketball, and I've said this before. I just can't really get into it. Like around Thanksgiving tournaments, yes, but really January is when I do the deep dive into it. And there were 11 SEC teams that played yesterday. I did my math. So the SEC was 10-1. The one loss was Georgia. The SEC outscored their opponents by 292 points.
Yeah.
So an average of 27 points per game. These weren't very good games.
Yeah. Well, there was Morehead State, who Alabama beat, is picked to win the OVC. I mean, there's a chance that in Brown's bracket next year, he will squibble there in the name Morehead State advancing.
Yeah, I mean,
the way he picks games.
I may have him beating a 2 seed.
But UAB lost to a good Bradley team at home last night. I watched both of those games. So the one thing that really impressed me right off the bat for Alabama is Grant Nelson. He's thicker than I thought. I knew he was 6'11", but when you see 6'11", 229 is what he's listed at, you wonder, well, he could be a beanpole. He got a little bit more meat on him than I thought. Yeah.
I got the text last night. This is going to be the Christian Laettner, the hated white guy of the SEC this year.
They really think that?
He could be.
Because he's good? Or because
he's good.
I mean, I know he's good, but why is everybody going to hate him?
He does those hustle points, Brown. Like he went up and contested a lob and early in the contest.
So people are going to think he's a try-hard? Is that what you're telling me?
He does try-hard.
Yeah, and he's a guy that really can do it all at 6'11".
The try-hard bothers me is the try-hard that's not talented. We pointed one out the other day it's been a while back that you love, and Lance and I were saying he's just a non-talented try-hard. But I cannot remember who it was. When a guy's talented and he's a try-hard, that doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, well, he's big, and he
does have the mustache, and the mustache...
Not a thick one.
It reminds you of kind of a Gonzaga player.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. It is a very. Who was the
Drew
guy?
Timmy?
Drew Timmy, Adam Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a Gonzaga-like mustache.
Yeah, West Coast we go Gonzaga, East Coast we go Duke.
Yeah, so it's
Cherokee Parks.
That is the way we play that, isn't it?
Yeah. Aaron Estrada, I liked the way he played for Bama last night.
2 senior transfers led them in scoring last night, played extremely well. You know the offense is going to be dynamic and going to be good. You just wonder about this defense. You mentioned the Eagles are picked to win their league, but they put a 73 spot up on Bama. Now, Bama scores 55 in the first half, 50 in the second half. So that's going to be a fun offense to watch this year.
Yeah, and then Bradley gets UAB in overtime, 73-71. Missed a three-pointer at the buzzer. Braves led by as many as 20 in the first half.
That's what's crazy is, man, they go up 20. UAB takes a 9-point second-half lead.
Because they went on an 18-0 run. They went from down almost double digits to being up almost double digits.
And how UAB, and you watched it, how they get up 9, down 20, and they're 3 of 19 behind the arc. They miss 11 free throws. I mean, they played bad basketball.
Well, when it got to be 59-48, I flipped back to the Bama game a little bit. I wasn't watching on a different screen, so I was going back and forth. And Hulu would not allow me to do. I don't understand. There are 1,000 games on ESPN Plus. How can I not split screen that? That's where I want to split screen.
Yeah, YouTube has created the ultimate split screen.
That's right.
Yeah, they've done a great job with that. Now, it would be nice if you could mix and match.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Pick your own. It probably is. But, I don't know why ESPN Plus wouldn't do this for the basketball.
Yeah, at least in my way of doing it, could not get the split screen going. So when it went 59-48, I flipped over. I was shocked when I went back at the end and the game was over and they had lost.
Well, Javion Davis played his ass off, apparently, with 20 and 15, but they missed 49 shots last night.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there were upsets. Like, for instance, James Madison beating Michigan State, number 4 Michigan State in East Lansing.
Boy, they're having a heck of an athletic year at James Madison, aren't
they? In fact, they are, Brownie. James Madison University upset number 4 Michigan State in men's basketball to open the season. And 9-0 in football, one of only 7 undefeated teams. A great time to be a Duke right now.
Boy, it is.
More on that later.
Did you see how bad Michigan State was, though? They were 1 of 20 behind the arc. They missed 14 free throws.
Yeah. It's a shooter's game, isn't it?
And so that was the coach of JMU is the nephew of Tom Izzo, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's a family game.
You need to spit that as facts because I cannot back you up on that one.
I will tell you here in a sec. I'm pretty sure.
So the one thing about college basketball, though, that that game has zero impact on Michigan State.
No.
It might help the heck out of James Madison down the stretch. I don't know.
It could, right.
But it has zero impact on Michigan State. And that's just the difference you've got to accept in, say, like college football or college basketball.
Well, all of this to get to.
Assistant at James Madison.
Okay. Yeah. All that gets me to the big question I wanted to ask. Basketball started last night. We had some wins. We had some upsets, some losses. But there's no sense of urgency when Michigan State, number 4 Michigan State, loses. If that is on the football side of this, the way we do things now, it is a earth-shattering loss for a top 4 program.
Maybe unrecoverable.
Maybe you cannot get back from that.
Yeah, you might not recover from that, even with a terrific year.
It is the take the breath out of the stadium loss that we have in college football that makes it so urgent. It is why, to me, it's a greater game to me than the NFL. I know the NFL players are more talented, but it is the urgency of college football and the hang and the balance outcome almost every Saturday that it makes it feel so different for me. But next year we're going to be in the 12-team playoff.
It's going to be a little different.
Yep.
Yeah, and just look at what we just experienced. Alabama has been fighting for their life, and you still don't know if they can get there yet. They're comfortably in at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Next year.
And
it's not even Alabama. All they have to do is beat Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn. They don't even have to worry about the SEC championship game, and they're comfortably in next year.
But on the flip side of that coin, if people think that dilutes what we've got right now and that on the edge of your seat every Saturday, Ole Miss would be a fascinating watch down the stretch. Even a team like LSU with now 3 losses could still somehow navigate their way in.
But don't you think fans are going to look at it and say, God, I do not want to have to go to Eugene, Oregon or Seattle, Washington?
Maybe.
I mean, is that going to fill the same urgency as, I might not get in? I mean, I don't know. Probably not. Probably not the same urgency among fans.
But you're right. You can create your own urgency as, oh, man, if we're not going to be one of the top 4 teams, I definitely want to be at home. I don't want to go to Eugene. If we're going to have a realistic chance, we need to be a top 4 team. Maybe that creates the urgency. Ole Miss would be Penn State, Louisville, Tennessee, maybe LSU. Well, Tennessee lost. Tennessee, maybe LSU. Those would be fascinating teams. But is it going to be the same next year, or is it going to be more like college basketball?
No, I think it'll be the same. I think our passion for college football, I don't want to say is more. I think our passion for college football is definitely more. I think the majority of our listeners is more. But I think we're so conditioned to having 64, now 68 teams in the NCAA tournament, you're just used to the way that is. But back to your point on Michigan State losing last night, not a big deal. But a team out of the American like UAB, where they could end up with 23, 24 wins, losing last night to Bradley could end up being a big deal.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
You really hope Bradley ends up being a really good team if you're UAB. We'll get into the Monday night football game, and then eventually Klay Travis joins us in an hour. We've got some Michigan news that developed yesterday, not LT's favorite topic, so we'll brush by it quickly at some point.
I think yesterday what came up from that just shows you that nothing's going to happen.
Maestro Dobel Diamante tequila is the best tequila in the world. Maestro Dobel Diamante multi-age tequila using wood barrels. Balkan region of Eastern Europe is where those barrels come from. This gives you a soft yet robust agave flavor, crystal clear in appearance. 100% agave is used in this. You'll want to try this tequila. It's the best in the world. Maestro Dobel Diamante. Okay, since you brought it up.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I brought it up. I was going to tease it till later on, but then you interjected a fact, so let's talk about it. You think nothing's going to happen to this. The Big Ten commissioner does, by rule, have to notify them of impending disciplinary actions. He did that over the weekend. That news came out yesterday that Michigan did receive a letter notification from the commissioner that upcoming disciplinary actions are coming. What those disciplinary actions can be and what level they'll go to, who knows, but a source does tell The Athletic that it could rise to a suspension of Jim Harbaugh.
For 2 games and $10,000.
Yeah, it could be 2, could be more.
And Tony Patetti is not going to lay this down on Michigan because it's conflict of interest. I mean, how much money is at stake if Michigan goes to college football playoff?
A ton. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't do anything to the team. You can't discipline the team. You can discipline him, but if 2 games is 2 games, you want to take your 2 games. You want to sit out Penn State.
Well, they've also got the NCAA investigation that has been going on with recruiting, where they suspended Jim Harbaugh 3 games to start the year, self-imposed. They wanted to do 4 games, but the NCAA rejected that. That's still out there. Connor Stallions, the guy who is allegedly in charge of the sign stealing, resigned back on Friday, refusing to cooperate with both the Michigan or the NCAA investigation. And he says Jim Harbaugh or the coaches had no knowledge of what he was doing, according to him. Ross Dellinger reporting last night that their sources tell them that there is nothing that connects Jim Harbaugh to this. They don't know about the rest of the coaching staff.
Just looking the other way.
Yeah.
Is Connor Stallions just doing names? What is it? What do you name, rank, and serial number, or name, rank, and social security?
Jim Harbaugh's like, where do we get all these signs for the other team? I don't know.
Boy, that guy, he's going to be sick. He's going to have one of the umbrella drinks here in the holidays.
Connor Stallions. Defensive analyst, University of Michigan. Did Jim Harbaugh know? Connor Stallions, defensive analyst, University of Michigan, just over and over. But then there's Matt Rule. Well, no, you're right. Let's see. I see what you're doing. Let's do New Mexico first. Some other schools having fun.
Oh, I saw this.
In the stadium this week at New Mexico, welcome. They do welcome to the guests they have there. Welcome Connor Stallions, probably.
That's pretty good.
I hate to tell New Mexico, you're not good enough for Connor to make it to your game.
Good joke, though. I like their sense of humor. Yes.
But Rockstar, let's pull up Matt Rule, cut number 7. Matt Rule, 5-4 now. He's had a couple of questionable touchdowns, one allowed and one wiped off the board this year, that cost his team some football games. But he has been asked about his players. How do you feel about this Michigan thing? Ryan Walters was defending Purdue players adamantly going into the game and got it handed to him this past week.
And then did the blow-by on the handshake. Did you see that?
Yep, 100%.
As cold as it could get on the old handshake.
The coaches in the Big Ten are not happy. Even our buddy Matt Rule taking a shot at Michigan.
So we're sitting at 5-4. We own 5-4, but we had 1 game where the team scouted us. We've had 2 games where replay was wrong. I mean, that's tough to swallow, but you know what? That's where we are. We are where we are.
We are where we are. They got asked about that. You said 1 team that scouted you, and he went on and said, "Listen, my players are asking me. They're asking me, how do you feel about this? And I'm going to stand up for them. It's wrong. It is wrong." And he was adamant about it.
He lost by 38, though.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't bring it up.
You and I feel like are very different on this Michigan thing. I think it rises above anything else I have seen in college football in the cheating department.
All I'm saying, look, I'm not disagreeing on that front. All I'm saying is nothing is going to happen. I mean, the only thing that's going to possibly happen is Jim Harbaugh is going to leave and go to the NFL. Michigan's going to win a national championship this year. Everybody's going to hate it, and then he's going to take off.
Are you willing to go Michigan in the field for a stake?
No. I can grab 4.5 to 1 right now, can't I, Brown? Wasn't it plus 450? I think it was.
For who?
Michigan to win the national championship.
I thought they were 22. They're
your favorite.
They were plus 220. Yeah. I mean, they were plus 220, and Georgia, I think, was plus 220.
They're the betting favorites.
They are the betting favorites.
I mean, I'll take what is fair odds. I'd take 3 stakes to 1.
That I get the field, and you got Michigan 3 stakes to 1?
Yeah.
And you get, so no matter what costs Michigan, like in a unforeseen scenario, but if the NCAA comes in and says you're done, you lose, right? No matter how they don't win it.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I just wanted to play referee here before.
I'm just saying, we've seen this play out before. It just seems like the evil empire is going to be the ones holding the trophy.
How many stakes are you up?
I'm up 10 right now.
Oh, my gosh. Why are you holding 10 stakes? 3-1's nothing.
Well, it's almost been a full year of me in the lead. I don't know if I've ever gone a full year.
Well, I don't think you can blow 7 between now
really,
and...
it's been...
Really, I can't.
It really has just been, we need to get these things paid off because it's just been back and forth. Really, it's kind of hovered around that number for about a year.
It has been about 6 to 10 or 11 for
I'd
about
do
a
this
year.
if I were you. You get the rest of the field. You get Georgia. You get Alabama playing their best ball of the year.
Who?
Georgia.
And who?
Alabama playing their best ball of the year.
Alabama in the conversation
Playing
again?
their best ball of the year. They've got a shot at the playoffs.
You know Bo Nix would light up that Michigan defense.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. I'd love Bo Nix, Michigan for the
Yeah,
I would too.
Texas getting healthy. Ohio State could beat them outright in the regular season.
Hey, Penn State, if they lose this week to Penn State, it could
They're
be
done.
over.
If they lose to Ohio State or Penn State, it's over. You don't even have to sweat it then.
Well, they're only 5.5-point favorites this week.
Lunsford, Michigan. Should I bet against them, Michigan? Give me Lunsford's microphone. Should I bet against Michigan, Lunsford? Just quick answer.
You should bet against Michigan because I have Michigan from the preseason. So
he's counting on landmine is what he's doing.
Forrester, Tyler. Should I take this bet 3-1?
take it.
Man, you're getting the field. When do you not take the field?
You got the field. You got
and you got plenty to play with.
Yeah.
I'll do that. LT has Michigan for the national championship. 3-1 in his favor. And I've got the field.
Literally everybody else.
The Toradol bet, whatever. What are you
Jimmy Toradol. He will not remember this.
The Toradol bet. I will tell you, it is fuzzy on the edges.
But you do agree with me. If anything does happen, it's not going to happen this season.
And that's been my point from the beginning. If anything does happen, it should happen this season.
Yeah, but I don't know. You've got to have I mean,
due process.
Yeah, it's like anything in our judicial system right now. I know we are a society that is guilty until proven innocent.
I understand that, but you're talking about
due process.
You're talking about that person that committed that crime getting due process. That person isn't changing. That person isn't graduating. That person isn't leaving for another job.
Here's
that
all
person is still inside his body.
I would say I feel 99% that Jim Harbaugh knows about Connor Stallions and what he was doing. But that 1%, if he is somehow, by a miracle, not involved with Connor Stallions, you've at least got to solidify that.
Well, I'm not saying it's a Jim Harbaugh problem. I'm saying it's a Michigan problem. If they had an advantage. And see, what is frustrating is they're going to win most of these games anyway.
That's right.
But do they beat Ohio State the last 2 years without this?
I don't know. They beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, well, it helps you if you know if they're passing or running.
No, it does.
I mean, it's a pretty big part of the game, isn't it?
But, TCU flipped the script on them.
They
so
did.
There is another way to go about this, I guess, if you have a heads up.
Yeah, if you know about it.
But here's the thing. You
problem.
can't punish these players, though.
Oh, I agree you don't punish the players, but...
How can you not punish the players?
Because they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Why would you punish the players?
You're punishing the program. You've always punished the players.
But
but you've got to avoid that, and you punish Jim Harbaugh.
Even if the players know that your coaches are stealing signals, what are they supposed to do about it? Hey, look, it's like that kid in the basketball commercial where he's like, it was out of bounds on me.
Yeah.
What is?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's the value system they're looking for? Whatever.
I mean,
you're not going to do that if you're a Michigan player. You can't call out the staff.
And I get suspending Harbaugh is going to have an effect on the players, but you can't make them ineligible for postseason and things like that.
Every penalty that we've handed down in the
But those are dumb. Those are dumb penalties.
No recruiting penalty impacted. They're dumb, but that's all we've ever done.
I know. Well, that doesn't mean we
penalties.
should keep doing it. I mean. So because all you've ever done is wrong, you just keep doing it because that's all you've ever done?
This is the one that has benefited the players more than any other one.
But they didn't know it.
You say that.
You really think players knew it?
It doesn't matter. If you're cheating to win a game, cheating to get a player, they've all been doing that for years. If you're cheating to win a game, apparently this has risen to a level that the coaches are not comfortable with.
But I would guarantee you somebody has done it before. Maybe not the masses.
Yeah, probably so. Couple of great sponsors here working these in. Tell us about our friends at HydroLife.
Yeah, HydroLife therapy right now, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. 2 great locations around us, the newest in Greystone, one in Homewood. They're open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you can't make it to one of the great HydroLife locations, a nurse can actually come to your place of business or house. Go to hydrolifetherapy.com for more information. Make sure you mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to get 20% off any of those great services. Again, hydrolifetherapy.com.
100%, Bobby. I have specifically bemoaned Bama players being penalized in the past for coaches cheating. But that's the way we do it. It's the way we do it. It's the way we've always done it. Why are we going to do it differently now in a game where these guys have benefited from winning games by violating the rules? Riley says recruiting penalties don't hurt the players. It really did back before the days you could leave the program. It did. Ask the USC program in the aftermath of what looks to be nothing now in the Reggie Bush history.
I think in the past we've done it wrong. The system's been broken. I think they need to revise some of this, and I don't think
So it starts now with Michigan.
No, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I mean the NCAA doesn't have they don't wield the power they used to wield.
Yeah. This is a different thing than any recruiting thing I've seen.
Would you be saying the same thing if it was Alabama? I'm just asking you.
Probably not to start with.
Yeah.
But if it becomes Alabama down the road, yeah, I'll stick with it. This is the first time I've seen anything like this. You?
Oh, no, I've never seen anything like this. No.
Yeah. You?
No.
I mean, usually it's to get players. I've never seen anything to actually win games.
I mean, Bill Belichick did it. The Astros did it. So I've been on the other side of this multiple times.
You still hang on to the Astros thing.
Well, the Astros was infuriating because it was a 7-game series. And the Dodgers offense it's almost like Jaden Daniels right now. They did everything they could to win, and because they were stealing signs, I mean, you saw the number. It was like there was like no swing and misses on fastballs.
That's right. Fastballs, it's almost a lot like this, knowing whether you're getting a fastball or a breaking pitch.
Yeah.
Whether they were banging a garbage can.
But here's what I would say. They got burned last year. They didn't win it all. The Astros ended up winning it all. You have all the information. So moving forward, you can't steal pitches if you're Michigan.
They can't steal signs in these big games coming up.
Yeah, I mean, like they're done.
Yeah. Shame on Penn State and Ohio State if they run out with any signs that they've had before this.
Right? Oh, well, you're an idiot if you do that playing Michigan. Yeah. That's on you.
Small number, Penn State this weekend?
Oh, yeah, it's only 5.5.
Do you expect it to be a bigger number than that?
I mean, it's hard being in
Happy
Valley that you would be that, I mean, hell, getting more than a touchdown. And there's a lot of people that don't believe in Michigan. Hey, they haven't been tested. I get that. But from what we've seen.
Best team in college football right now.
So far, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that doesn't always matter. You know that.
Yeah, it does not always matter. And sometimes they do play differently against good teams. Best team in college football right now, and what they put on tape so far. All right, there you go. We're off and rolling today. Still to come, we'll get to Klay Travis, Brandon Marcello, and Upset Alert all in the second hour. Your conversation about the games on the field and everything else that's happening in Monday Night Football still to come right here. And we'll jump into some phone calls, too, and comments over in the chat room, 205-734-0923. The show being brought to you by our friends at A+. They changed Brown's landscape inside his bathroom.
Oh, absolutely they did, Jimmy D. Listen, when we bought our house back in 2015, we weren't crazy about the bathroom right away. We wanted it a little more updated, and we like the darker tones rather than the lighter tones. So, like a lot of things, we just kicked the can down the road, never really dealt with it. And finally, Jennifer, this past winter, was like, we're going to do it now. So she scoured the internet, and she found the best person for the job. It is Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. He did incredible work for us. Scott is showing you some of the after photos. The darker tones, the more updated master bath, all of that right there at A+ Tile Home Remodeling. His crews worked hard. They were efficient. They were on time. They did great work for us. So if you're tired of that outdated bathroom or that shower or that kitchen that isn't functional, the way you're going to get your money back on home remodels when you sell it is through the master bath in the kitchen. Master bath in the kitchen. He helped Lance, too. Lance's bathroom looks great. Yours can as well. Here's Brad Bell's number. If you miss any of this, just reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with him. But anywhere in Alabama, he can help you. 205-422-1758. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
Follow John Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA. Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations, but we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com. As summer starts to fade, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight because we've got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight. Box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and let's show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your party. Take charge today.
NH4238765-321 over there. Wrong answer. He says James Madison, and this is true, has officially sent a letter to the NCAA to request immediate bowl eligibility. They should make that happen.
Good time to do that, by the way, when the NCAA's embroiled in this Michigan stuff. I mean, there's a chance that one just gets rubber stamped.
Yeah,
like, we don't have to investigate something, let them in.
Well, and the fact that it's a positive story for the NCAA.
That's
if
right,
you were to
that's
do
right.
this, and I think James Madison probably looked at it and they did some calculations. They're like, holy shit, this is what we can make if we are the New Year's Six representative. What am I looking for?
Representative.
Yeah, there we go.
But they are, they're a quality football team that in 2 years now, this is their second year. You almost understand the rules on the first year. But who? I mean, go back to
the dumbest thing.
I mean, who has success anyway?
It's what you were. I mean, it's again. I'm not trying to pick on you, but it's what you're talking about. It's the way it's always been done. Well, that drives me insane.
They did it. They did it for.
They did it so, and I've talked to people involved in this
to protect both sides. Actually,
well, actually, it was so that teams wouldn't just make this jump in hopes of a financial windfall. It was to protect yourself from yourself. Well, it's so dumb now because the reason these teams make a jump is the TV deals give them the quote-unquote financial windfall. That's right. It's a different level for everybody. So it's just the way it's always been done. And there are few things that frustrate me more than just doing something because that's the way it's always been done. Everything should be up for, is this still the best way of doing it? And that's clearly not the best way of doing this anymore. That rule makes no sense whatsoever, none whatsoever.
Especially, I mean, there's no way you should be able to jump up and have this success anyway.
Well, that's true. You should be rewarded for it if you do, though.
That's right. That's right. And the fact that they were 8 and whatever last year, and they're doing so well this year, they did have an injury on the field that could impact them. Jalen got hurt.
He leads the nation in sacks.
Jalen Grown got hurt. Or either it's a groin injury.
It's a groin injury. Yeah.
I can't read my
writing.
How
many Tordals this morning?
2.
Yeah.
Jalen got hurt. He's the ACL injury and is one of the best rushers for James Madison there. But they will not show up in the college football playoff rankings tonight, though they should be. and a big win for them last night in basketball. The show being brought to you by our friends at JohnstonRVCenter.com. Johnston RV Center.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman. 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. They just returned for the Forest River Expo, and what they do at the Forest River Expo is they look at all the great floor plans of all the great RVs, and they get those coming to the line. But they got to make room for them. So the Call of Fall is going on right now. You could still go see America this fall in an RV from JohnstonRVCenter.com. Fifth Wheels, up to $50,000 or more off on Fifth Wheels. Travel trailers as low as $179 a month with approved credit. Don't forget that lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever on anything that is new or under 2 years of age used at Johnston RV Center. You can find them I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. That is JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Let's go to Buddy on line 1. Hey, Buddy, how you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, buddy.
Hasn't the thing that's always been said in years past when a team gets put on probation is, why are you punishing kids that had nothing to do with it?
Yes, every time.
Okay. So I'm in complete agreement if the NCAA, or in this case, really the Big Ten, because I think I saw a little news flash yesterday where they're not Michigan is not cooperating with the Big Ten, and they're asking for due process to run its course with the NCAA because they know they can get through this season before anything came out. And I thought I read who's the guy that's been breaking all this news? What's his name?
Ross Dellinger.
No, one of the other national writers, and I can't think of his name. He wrote something that there's a bylaw in the Big Ten that almost addresses this specifically. If you get caught doing something, especially like this with electronics, they can go in season and basically make your season null and void. Because let's just say, for argument's sake, that Ohio State gets beat by Michigan, and that would be the one loss that would keep them out. The only way to punish the current team members on Michigan would be to make sure they don't get to play postseason. And that would be justified to me. I'm tired of people coming back after the fact and say, well, you can't punish this. Well, you can't punish anybody, so do it. And I think that's what Jim Harbaugh might be worried about, is if they take this rule that the Big Ten has, that, in fact, it could ruin their season. And then, his legacy is going to be he's a cheater.
Yep. Buddy, thank you for all the. I will tell you that again, in all the reporting last night on The Athletic and at Yahoo with Ross Dellinger, they are saying that Michigan and Jim Harbaugh are lined up to sue the Big Ten if they take action.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this, but our friend Charlie Vitello, who's a big Michigan guy, said Michigan they've got a force of attorneys.
Well, I'm sure they do. I guess they got a good law school there, but you would maybe get an injunction, and then this thing plays out after the championship. I don't know. I don't want to see it come to that. And to Lance's point, there is a bit of a conflict of interest here. Michigan appears to be the Big Ten's best open and national champion, something they have not had in a very long time.
Yeah, and the NCAA, to your point, can't act fast enough for it to happen during this season. Right?
I would not think so.
And keep in mind, Warren Manuel, their athletic director, is on the college football playoff selection committee.
Of course he is.
Didn't make the trip to Dallas. Yeah. He's staying back to deal with this mess, so he didn't make the trip for tonight's rankings that will come out. He stayed back home to have these high-level meetings as this investigation continues.
It'd be funny if they have Michigan 8th the night he's not there. It was, whoa, wait a minute.
Ward, I forgot about Michigan, Ward.
Sorry, man.
You weren't in the room.
You weren't in the room talking about Michigan. We dropped them to 8th.
I mean, they do have to leave the room anyway when they're talking about their school, and he is joining them on Zoom for the rest of the meetings.
Hey, help me out here, though. Let's just hypothetically say Michigan loses this weekend and they beat Ohio State.
Okay.
Then you've got a three-way tie at the top, right?
Yep.
What is that tiebreaker?
I think, like all these other tiebreakers, it ends up going to whatever metric they use to break the tie. That's the statistical metric, whether it is the highest ranked playoff committee team, the sports source statistical thing that everyone's adopted. I don't know the actual answer because there was a possibility going into
last. The only reason I ask this is there any way they let Michigan back in the thing with a loss, even if they somehow win the Big Ten?
Yeah, it usually goes to the as Brown is saying, to what is in essence is the best chance of your team to make your conference to make the playoffs.
Yeah, because there was a chance of this happening with Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss going into last week, and people had already started digging into the three-way tiebreaker.
So that's Michigan and Warren Manuel, who's not there tonight. The playoff rankings come out a little bit later on this evening. We'll see if there's a flip with Georgia to 1 and Ohio State down to 2, or Michigan to 1 and Ohio State down to 3. We'll see if there's a jumble at the top of the college football playoff rankings. Nobody from 8 up lost last week. Oklahoma was the biggest loser. Part of the show being brought to you by our friends at the Pan Store. The Pan Store, great folks there. They're your game day location there. They're the folks that can help you with all your wear for the weekend at the Pan Store. Panstore.com, panstore.com, locations in Auburn, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, Leeds, and Tuscaloosa. All the name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Elephant Head, Taylor and Mick, and so much more. It's our friends at Pan Store, panstore.com. Rockstar cut number 10. Lane Kiffin getting ready for a big weekend. I want to set the table here for you, Lance, to discuss glass ceilings. I know you're a fan of glass ceilings for some programs. Here's Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, trying to bang his head through the glass ceiling.
There were a lot of people talking about this game as being such a huge one for, the program's history. I guess, where does this Saturday's game kind of rank compared to other games that you've coached in terms of kind of magnitude of games that you've been a part of as a head coach?
I kind of feel like this one's different, whether it's right or wrong. It's kind of more like playing with house's money, meaning, no one expects us to win. We're double-digit underdogs. And I feel like those big games over the years at the places and stuff, those were more like they were the big game or the national game, and the teams were considered close. I think that, no one's expecting us to win or probably even play them close. So we'll just go in there and see what happens.
Different approach from Lane. Not a grab your popcorn about to play Alabama kind of attitude, is it?
Yeah, Lane needs to play it this way. Like, I would not want to poke the cage. We've seen when people do that to Georgia and what ultimately happens. And there are a lot of people that think Ole Miss is going to keep this game extremely close.
But I also think, and I talked to Peter Burns about this yesterday on the Burnout, the whole grab your popcorn deal with Kiffin was when they were playing Alabama with Bryce Young and those, John Mechie, Jamison Williams, that team, right? And you knew going to Bryant-Denny, kicking field goals was going to do nothing for me, right? I got to score touchdowns. As good as Georgia is, I think Georgia's very good. I don't know if you feel the same way going to Georgia, do you? Like, do you feel like I got to score touchdowns every time I get a chance at Georgia, or I can settle for 3 every now and then?
I've said it all year. I think Carson Beck is underrated, but I don't know how many weapons he's really got around him. And with Brock Bowers out, it's a different offense.
Yeah, Lad McConkey's been really good filling in. Yeah. Bowers is running on the hard run, the ground running, and not in the pool running. He's closer to coming back. May play this weekend. We'll know by the end of the week, but he's getting closer and closer to coming back. But he got a good workout in, Kirby said, back on Friday, and is starting to do some things.
You brought up glass ceilings. Yeah, I didn't make the rules for Ole Miss, but we've watched them for a long time.
Yes.
And when things are going well, there always seems to be something that derails them.
So is this their glass ceiling this weekend?
Well, I mean, the most Ole Miss thing ever, unfortunately for them, would be to actually win this game, go 11-1, and not get there because of Bama, because you lost to Bama.
But I don't see them winning this game.
I don't either. So I think that tells you their glass ceiling's probably 10-2.
Yeah, I think we have got what looks to be, and we talked about this on Bama and Bourbon yesterday. This is a sleepy, dangerous game for Alabama, getting back up for an 11 o'clock game against Kentucky.
Hey, and a small number, relatively speaking.
I agree. 10.5. I don't know how much more you can put it. It's kind of like this Penn State Michigan number right now. I mean, if you put it 13 or 14, that's a massive number on the road against Kentucky, but it still seems to be a dangerous number. But if Alabama, it just kind of feels after getting past LSU that we have got a one-loss Alabama taking on undefeated Georgia.
If Ole Miss wins this game this weekend, it does seem like they're, maybe they don't make it to Atlanta, which has been their glass ceiling, but it does feel like all of a sudden he has taken them to a height that
I agree with
nobody on this table thought he would take them to.
I don't disagree with you on that, Jimmy, but I would say this could be their last great shot at getting to Atlanta.
Because
once the league expands, I just don't know that they can get back in this position.
I mean, they've never been able to get there before with some down years in the SEC West. I still look, I agree with you record-wise where he has gotten them. I mean, he's earned his money,
But I just don't know how good these teams have been.
Our friends at Alabama Power bring you the show. You can manage your account with the Alabama Power new mobile app right there. The new app features easy, safe, and reliable ways to access your account and check on your usage and set alerts with things like when your power's out, knowing when you're going to get your power back. It's all right there, alabamapower.com/mobile app. alabamapower.com/mobile app, available in your Apple and Android stores.
Our Monday morning quarterback is Fox Sports' Joel Klatt. Every Monday at 10:25.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
The Next Round golf card is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
As summer bids adieu, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight, because we got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight: box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your fall. Take charge today.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Back with you on the next round. I wanted to. I'm biting my tongue here. I wanted to rant about the medical industry for a second, but I'm not going to. I'm not. Don't stare.
Okay,
at me.
I'm waiting. I want to make sure you're.
Our friends at Hemp Hill, they take care of your heating, your cooling, and your plumbing services right there. Our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, since 1954 for all of your heating, plumbing, and cooling. That is the name that Alabama has trusted, Hemp Hill Services. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew. Ask them about that $69 fall tune-up right now. It's hard to stop a train. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Basketball happening tonight. Auburn, a 2-point dog to number 20 Baylor, 8 o'clock. You get to watch it on ESPN tonight. Listen, Auburn's unranked in the AP poll. Baylor's number 20 in the AP poll. But if you go by KenPom, it's already KenPom season.
Oh, yeah, Ken back.
This is number 7 Baylor versus number 15 Auburn. So a top 15 matchup tonight. in Sioux Falls.
I think, Bruce Pearl has talked about this. You've got a phrase you use called the shakedown cruise. That's where you used to take a boat out and get her up to speed just to see where the water leaked, right?
That's right. Every boat in the old days when they built them by hand, you'd take it and put it in the water, and you'd see real quick that maybe it wasn't sealed right over here. We got to pull it back out of the water and seal this up over here.
And Bruce Pearl has talked about this game, Lance, as a very early shakedown cruise, that when you play a team like Baylor, they can expose some of your flaws, and hey, you end up winning this game. Maybe you don't have as many flaws.
Wasn't it Captain Edward Smith?
I'll go with that. You want me to look it up? What are you supposed to do?
My point was going to be I buried more people this weekend than Captain Edward Smith, the old skipper of the Titanic. But they had a shakedown cruise, believe it or not.
Connecting the dots. You're talking about Lance's lock. 3 of 14 over the weekend.
But I'm saying I was looking at Edward Smith.
More people.
A lot of gaps in your stories today. Or maybe it's my
I think it's your Mads. I think people are keeping up okay. But anyway, he had a shakedown cruise. So he went out initially, and they had some problems with the Titanic before they had the major iceberg.
So they took an early cruise on that thing, and they were
I think when he took it out, there was something that was going. I was reading the thing. I was just seeing how many fatalities they had again, just to see if I could match that from Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
We did have a nice 5-0 to close the week yesterday, though.
So 5-0 last night.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this, man? He was on another boat that had a collision. How did he get the helm of the Titanic?
It was unsinkable. They give it to a guy that's unsinkable.
Even Edward Smith could drive
No,
that.
he was the Saban of captains back then, though. I read that, like, the first day they had, like, kind of a meet and greet with the media, pictures, all that kind of. He went straight to assistant captain or whatever, got the manifest, was all about, hey, let's get this mission going.
Well, I mean, it looked like this.
He was a go-getter until he went to sleep.
None of the outside noise?
Nope.
Well, I'm talking about the Hawk incident, Lance, of September 20th, 1911. I don't know if you're aware of this one.
No.
It was a major mishap where he collided with a British warship, the HMS Hawk.
A little too much brandy?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but it left the 2 compartments filled and propeller shaft twisted. Now, he blamed the Royal Navy.
That sounds like somebody that got a hold of one of the station vehicles back in the day.
Yeah, really.
Left the propeller twisted.
Yeah, so I hit the ice. It was April. So I don't know, man. I don't know how that dude got the Titanic. I'd have backed that one back down a little bit. Going with somebody that hadn't hit a warship at some point. If I'm running the Titanic, that's just me.
You're going to have to connect the dots for me. How do we get on the Titanic?
Well, Lance buried more people at Lance's lock than...
No, you brought up Shakedown Cruise, and I said that Captain Smith actually took the Titanic on a shakedown cruise before.
Talking about Auburn basketball tonight, playing number 20 Baylor's shakedown cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We're all connected. Last night,
we have to get you a beer for you to keep up.
Monday Night Football, the Clippers. No, it's the Chargers who won last night, 27-6 over the Jets. In that game, Justin Herbert got hit 13 times.
Oh yeah.
This Jets team, Aaron Rodgers flirting with them, throwing pregame. He looks like he could get out there and play right now.
He could, but. Would you feel comfortable with Rodgers behind that offensive line right now? That offensive line I know Aaron Rodgers is elite, but that offensive line is not good.
Well, if I'm a Jets fan, you're going to get more out of that than what you're getting with Zach Wilson right now.
No doubt.
And so this defense is championship-like. And you mentioned the fact Justin Herbert was sacked 5 times. He threw for a career low 136, and the game was over in the first quarter. It was 14-0.
Yeah, it's 14-0.
They weren't coming back from that. Yep. And you look at the Jets now, 4-4. They've scored 8 offensive touchdowns in 8 games. Last night they had 2 field goals against the NFL's 31st ranked passing defense. They lost 3 fumbles. They allowed 8 sacks. They were 3 of 17 on third downs. And if I'm Garrett Wilson and I'm Breece Hall, those are elite skill guys, and they have got no offensive line and no quarterback.
You mean Breece Hall, who has to do a spin move in the backfield like every other carry? Yeah. I mean, every other carry. Crazy, too, watching that defense with 2 Winona High School kids on it. I mean, I know they're brothers, obviously. That's why they both went to Winona, but that's just wild to see one high school in Birmingham, Alabama, produce 2 of the 11 starting defenders. And, by the way, they're both elite players. Yeah, they're really good.
And the Jets defense is elite. They're 4-4. They're the same record as the Chargers. Those 2 teams look totally different.
They really do. It's amazing. I think Robert Saleh has – if they make the playoffs, has to be considered for Coach of the Year awards.
How are they going to make the playoffs unless Rodgers comes back?
I mean, they're 4-4 right now. They're not that far out of it.
I mean, they find ways to gut out games with that defense, but they got down 14-0. And Nathaniel Hackett, I was pulling for him back because of the Sean Payton comments.
But there's something to this. The offense was ranked 32nd last year in Denver. It's 31st this year with the Jets.
He's got Zach Wilson at quarterback.
I know. He had Russell Wilson at quarterback last year.
Yeah. So maybe you just need somebody not named Wilson at quarterback to get better.
I mean, I know we're only 8 or 9 games in, depending on which team you're talking about here, but they're only one game out of the playoffs right now. And, I mean, I think this team has got the ability to hang around because of that defense.
But they're going in different directions, the two teams we saw last night, right?
Well,
you feel better about the Chargers than you do the Jets moving
you
forward.
say that, but the Jets had won 3 consecutive games going into last night. I mean, I don't feel good about either one of them.
I mean, Justin Herbert, if I got the stat right, is now 28-29 in his career.
That sounds about right.
0-1 in the playoffs. It was one of the biggest disasters of a playoff we've ever seen for them.
Yeah, I think he might be the most overrated player in the NFL.
I'm starting to feel that way.
Rod says, and there was a video of Darwin James and Aaron Rodgers talking. James asked him, the DB for the Chargers, when you coming back? And Aaron did tell him, give me a few weeks. And so he is planning on coming back. Forrester says Rodgers isn't coming back from Achilles that quickly.
I don't think so either.
They'll have to have a shot at the playoffs.
Do we know if it was a complete tear of the Achilles or just a rip of the Achilles?
I've got this coming up in 4 downs, though.
Okay. His Achilles?
Well, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
But based on his Achilles.
The show being brought to you
by... Am I really this much of a riddle to you today?
I mean, I think just sometimes you say things I think...
that you don't understand.
Yeah, or that everyone just is supposed to know. And I do it too. We have a conversation going between us that sometimes I like to fill in the gaps for our audience that maybe they're not in on our inside joke. Okay. You were talking about Lance's lock, buried the people.
Maybe I'm confused. You brought up a shakedown cruise, and I brought up one of the more infamous captains.
He brought up the shakedown cruise.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Lance brought up a pretty big shakedown cruise, the Titanic. We found out.
Did you follow me, or am I the one that's on?
I did follow you. Jim's on medication, so I'm trying to give him some grace here.
But even you, when the buried bodies over the weekend, he didn't mention that he was 3-14 on Lance's lock. That was what we were doing.
That's what I was filling in Edward that gap. Smith, I buried as many people on him on Lance'sLock.com.
I got the joke.
Yeah, I did too. I was just sharing it for the rest of the audience.
Well, I would think if you get it on your meds right now, everybody out there's got it.
A couple of sponsors to get to here, including our friends at Way to Wellness. If you're looking for a great way to jumpstart your weight loss, Leslie and her board-certified team can do that, but also help you control your blood pressure and also your cholesterol numbers through your diet. All you need to do is go to this website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Go and check out all the details there, including every plan's designed specifically for you. No cookie-cutter plan, no contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free. It's aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, your journey to healthy living. Also, our friends at New York Butcher Shop LT.
Yeah, New York Butcher Shop. Go see our friend Jim, all the fine folks there. Great holiday gift ideas coming up. I don't know about you guys. I am not the guy that wants to do the full meal in Thanksgiving. So I go see Jim and the guys at the New York Butcher Shop. They've got great opportunities for you with the catering. You can pre-order turkey sides, everything. They've got it right there at the New York Butcher Shop. Stop in 2 locations, rare quality, well-done service, Cahaba Heights, and also in Greystone. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Rod saying the rumor had Aaron had an experimental, I guess, way of doing his surgery, which makes it a lot faster.
Well, and he's one of those naturalist healing types that it wouldn't surprise me if he tried to get back as quick as possible just to prove his point on his type of healing, right? That it's not your I don't even know the words I'm looking for here.
Modern medicine.
Yeah, I mean it's not your everyday way of healing. Like he's a faster healer because of his lifestyle and some of the choices he makes. And look, if I get him back quicker, I get him back quicker.
I mean, I'm shocked he looks upright throwing the football.
I'll tell you what, if he gets him back that quick, I want Tua to visit him. Tua's going to get hurt at some point. I want him back.
I was thinking about that the other day, Brown.
What?
When he was scrambling around on that last possession, going for a ball on the ground. I'm like, oh, man, everything has really gone well for your team this year.
But he almost never gets touched. He gets the ball out so quick now.
All right. 1 hour to go. 2 hours to go, 1 hour down. This is the next round.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy, all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the next round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with Walk-Ons.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Klay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
This hour of the show being brought to you in part by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City on Facebook. You can look him up there. He does a free no-cost roof inspection. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. These summer storms can blow a shingle loose, bend a shingle, let water into your roof, causing thousands of dollars worth of damage. He'll check out your pipe jack boots, your flashing, your gutters, and all that when he's up there. He's the best in the business. He is Greg Nelson, locally owned for over 20 years, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. 205-542-3531. He is Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Brown, Klay Travis is there. Let's talk to him now.
Klay is the founder of Outkick. You can find him at Klay Travis on Twitter. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Welcome in, Klay. How are you today?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. If you were to pick one of the teams, let's say top 6, 7, 8 of the college football playoff ranking, which team would you not want to be right now? And the reason I ask that is, you know, a lot of these teams have a path, but the path could be foggy for some. Which team would you not want to be right now?
Well, I mean, I think so. First of all, you want to be the team that if you win out, you're 100% in.
Correct.
Right? So if you're Michigan, if you're Ohio State, you're 100% in. I think there are 9 teams that are potentially in the mix. I probably wouldn't want to be Texas.
Interesting.
Because I think you can look at a scenario where, let's go 5 major conference teams. I think Texas could win out and still not make the playoff. And by the way, I think Alabama could be in that scenario too, depending on how everything shakes out, because you could end up with undefeated Ohio State or Michigan. You could end up with undefeated Washington or 1-loss Oregon coming back to beat Washington, which I think would be almost impossible to leave out the Pac-12 champ in that scenario. Florida State, to me, seems very likely to go undefeated. Going to be hard to leave them out with that win over LSU and the quality of overall performance they have had. And then I think you look at Georgia. Georgia could win out. That wouldn't be shocking. In fact, probably are favored to win out right now. And so even if Texas went 12-1 in that scenario I just laid out, I think Texas would be out of the mix. And by the way, if Texas went 12-1, you can also see a scenario where Alabama at 12-1 could get bumped out by Texas because of the head-to-head outcome in week 2. So the teams that I would not want to be are the teams that could do everything perfect from this point forward and still not know that they are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. So I would point to Texas. I would point to Alabama. To a certain extent, I might point to Oregon, although, again, I think a 12-1 Oregon team would be very hard to leave out. But that's how I would kind of assess the scenario. And certainly you wouldn't want to be Penn State, for instance, which even could beat Michigan. And I don't even know how it's going to shake out. You guys know, if you looked up, what the tie break is in the Big Ten East, if in the event that they all three ended up 11-1.
Yeah, Brown brought it up. He thinks it is their best opportunity to get to a college football playoff. Look, there's only 5 teams that control their own destiny right now, and they're the 5 undefeateds 1 through 5. But I think it's interesting you bring Oregon up, because we talked about this scenario yesterday. If Oregon wins out and they're 12-1 Pac-12 champion, and Alabama wins out and their lasting impression is beating Georgia, I don't think there's any way, as much respect as we're giving the Pac-12 this year, Oregon with their brand would be bigger than Alabama and their brand knocking off Georgia. I think Alabama would be in over Oregon. You disagree?
I think 12-1 Oregon would be tough to beat. I do, because then they're vanquishing, the team that beat them. And again, remember, Texas is in play too.
Yeah, but Alabama. Well, let's just say Texas has lost. Alabama at that point would have beaten Georgia, who's won 29 consecutive games.
Well, if Texas loses, then all of them would get in, right? Because the Big 12 would be out. You just take the 4 conference champs of SEC, ACC, Big 10, and Pac-12. Right? So Texas, loses, I think it actually super simplifies things. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's an either-or equation.
No, I got you now. That makes sense. Yeah, like instead of having to justify Texas, Alabama, just put Oregon in there and nobody says anything.
Yeah, then you would end up with 3 12-1 teams that you're all considering, right? In my scenario, you'd have 12-1 Oregon, 12-1 Bama, 12-1 Texas. I think Texas gets in, right? Because you can't take Alabama over Texas, I don't think, given the head-to-head. Now, maybe if Quinn Ewers is not available, you get into an argument about that, but I think the head-to-head would be hard to get over. So I think then you're looking at it as part of a 3-way as opposed to just a head-to-head. So anyway, I think that complicating factor. I mean, look, if Kansas State doesn't go for it on 4th and 4, kicks the field goal, and ends up finding a way to win that game, then I think a lot of this debate is gone, because the Big 12 is out of the equation, and you're actually sitting back saying, hey, maybe another conference gets 2 teams in, right? Because Ole Miss is sitting out there crazily. I don't hear anybody talking about them. I mean, they could go 11-1 and beat Georgia head-to-head on the road in Athens. That would be a hell of a resume, but unless Alabama loses to Kentucky and Auburn, which I haven't seen anybody predict, it doesn't matter, because Ole Miss is boxed out based on what happened in September in Tuscaloosa.
I'm blown away that you spend so much time in the political world. I'm blown away that you think the SEC champion would be left out with all the power they have in this sport. You actually think the SEC champion would be left out, regardless of circumstances, of anything, anywhere else, that the SEC champion is going to be left out of this thing.
Let's just give you the most difficult scenario for the SEC, right? It is Florida State wins out, Ohio State or Michigan win out. You have got Washington winning out. That's 3 undefeated teams. I don't think anybody on the planet would argue that those 3 undefeated Power 5 conference teams, they're in, right? So then Texas wins out, 12-1, and Alabama wins out, 12-1.
Yeah, Texas is getting in front of Bama.
Yeah, so I don't see any scenario where 12-1 Bama laying out that. Now, LT scenario of, hey, what if it's 12-1 Oregon, or 12-1 Washington, right? Washington could lose a game down the stretch here, still come back and beat Oregon to win the Pac-12 championship, right? So I think there are certainly multiple plays there. For instance, I think if Florida State loses, to anybody. I'm not sure Florida State gets in, right? So there are a lot of different, directions that this can all go. But in the one that I just laid out, I think 12-1 Bama would be your 5.
You disagree with that?
I just think the SEC and the Big Ten control the sport, that their champion is going to, if all things are even, if the records are the same, their champions will be in this thing. 4 teams,
so
8 teams, 12 teams.
In my scenario where you have 3 undefeated Power 5 conference teams and Texas goes 12-1 and has the head-to-head to Bama, who doesn't get in that scenario to get Alabama?
There is no way they can let Bama in over Texas in that scenario.
You don't think
they beat them in Tuscaloosa?
An overtime game with Kansas State, who has multiple losses, isn't going to be enough of an argument that Greg Sankey's going to be able to push the team across the line?
I just saw Texas win by double digits in Tuscaloosa.
Weeks ago.
But they still did it. I mean, it's got to mean something.
If I'm on the other side of them, I'm like, okay, Alabama barely beat South Florida.
Yeah, weeks ago.
Well, so is the Kansas State overtime game. Or Bama barely beat Arkansas.
First
if you want to start those
I don't
arguments.
think it happens because I think Texas finds a loss.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with LT. I think Texas is going to lose, but I think you look at the scenarios. This is what we do. By the way, this is the last year I think we'll ever do this.
I agree.
Because when you go to 12 teams, I think the argument of, oh man, it's just kind of like in the NCAA tournament, right? People talk about for 2 hours, oh my God, can you believe, insert team here didn't get in. They were the 69th best. They were the 66th best team. They got totally disrespected. It lasts for like an hour, and then everybody's like, okay, let's break down the actual.
It's going to be such a fun tournament, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be like 1 hour of, oh my God, can you believe this team is clearly the 13th best team, or we think they're the 11th and they got left out, and then it'll be like an hour, and then people will be like, okay, let's move on. I mean, that's kind of the way the story will go. So I think this is the last year we'll sit around in November and college football fans love chaos scenarios. I mean, it's one of the fun things about the sport. But I think when you go from 4 to 12, much of the, what I would call the suspense, the excitement, the arguments that make college football so unique. And this is why I think so much of it is passionate, because there's no other sport where you sit around and argue, right? The whole concept of college football is so ridiculous. Like, I don't know about you, when you talk to your kids, but my boys find it unbelievable that there used to be co-champs. Like, they just, the whole idea, they're like, what do you mean? People just voted at the end of the year and there were teams that, split championships? I'm like, yeah. They were like, how did that ever happen?
It is really stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I was talking to my sons recently, and they were talking about Michigan, and they were like, when did Michigan last win a national championship? And I was like, well, in 1997, but they split it with Nebraska. And my kids were like, split it?
Yeah. How do you split it?
How were there 2 champions? Like, it's like, well, I was like, well, in the coaches poll, people had this opinion, and then in the AP poll, and they're like, the poll voters just sat around and argued about who the best team was.
I know.
Like, they can't even conceptualize that this is the way that adults chose the champion.
And then taking a step further, did they not play each other head-to-head in the bowl since they were both number one? No, one was playing in one part of the country, the other was playing in the other part of the country.
Yeah, they completely – and it's funny if you grew up as a college football fan to go back and try to explain to your kids like the way that we used to crown champions. Well, what did you do? Well, we just sat around and we argued about who we thought the best team would be. They're like, that's really how you decided to champion? And I think, honestly, that's why people are so passionate, not only fans of their team, but they're anti-fans, right? Like, not only do you have to argue in favor of your own team, you have to, come up with an argument for why somebody else's team is overvalued or not deserving of the respect they got, which is unique, frankly, in all of American sports, I would say. And I don't, internationally, I don't know that you ever had a situation where something as popular as college football just ended in, co-champions.
Yeah, I think rotary dial phones would be just as mind-boggling to them too. Wait, you used to have to put your finger in that hole at 9 and spin it around, and that somehow dialed the phone?
I don't know.
We had rotary internet, by the way.
I don't know what. I don't know what's crazier. You had what internet?
Rotary, like when you back in the day, dial up. But it would dial up like a rotary. For people out there who are real old school, my dad never replaced the rotary phone. Yeah. We didn't even have.
You don't know anything about this, Brown?
Yeah. I've never heard of rotary internet.
Oh yeah, in my house we didn't have dial tone. We had rotary phones. Like my dad, is so old school. He never replaced in our house. I don't know how old the phones were from the 1950s or whatever. So like you would, have to put your finger in the hole. I mean, a lot of people, my kids don't even know like how to do it and like roll it, around rotary style. But when we had first dial up, I didn't have internet till I got to college, but in our house, it would dial up on the rotary. Like you would hear because anyway. And I remember, we had Homework Hotline. You remember Homework Hotline back in the day? Like, you were supposed to be able, I couldn't get on Homework Hotline because we didn't have a dial tone. And people were like, "What do you mean you don't have a dial?" I was like, "We have rotary phones in my house. We don't have, punch button phones."
That's incredible. I didn't know rotary internet existed. And I grew up in Calhoun County. It's not like, you would think I would know it. All right, he is Klay Travis, Outkick founder, and at Klay Travis on Twitter. Thank you very much for the time, Klay. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate y'all having us. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. Take care. Klay with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
He said having us.
I know. It's multiple personalities.
Klay and his ego.
Was just sitting there. Yes, I agree with
yes, yeah, rotary dial up. Yes.
Milo's, they've introduced these wonderful loaded fries. The jalapeno bacon and queso make up the Mexi fries. The 100% pure ground beef grilled onions Milo sauce makes up the queso fries. The saucy fries, I should say, that queso on top there. To download the Milo's mobile app, just go to your app store, download it, use the promo code NEXTROUND when you're prompted. That's together, next round, one word. And get one of those new loaded fries for free right there with our friends at Milo's. Try the chicken fingers as well. It's the Milo's mobile app. Download it today. Use the promo code NEXTROUND. Brandon Marcello talking college football coming up in the next segment. Georgia playing Ole Miss this weekend. They could be without Jamon Dumas-Johnson. Jamin had a fractured in his forearm this weekend. Kirby yesterday saying he's going to do some innovative ways to try to come back. I would imagine if you're fractured forearm, you'd have some kind of rubbery cast around it or something, try to play through it. We've seen the clubs in the past on hand fractures.
Patrick Willis was one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Best club linebacker of all time.
The best I ever remember. He had that Q-tip on his right hand, and, boy, he was dominant.
He did. Now, he was great with or without the Q-tip, too.
We'll see if he gets back. Quinn Ewers for Texas's big night game at TCU. He was throwing yesterday. Sark has upgraded him to day-to-day instead of week-to-week now. First time he's used the day-to-day phrase. It does seem like Quinn Ewers will play this week for Texas right now, according to those that follow the program.
And that's big. Malik is just
he's not
a finished product.
He is not a finished product. They were to the point where if Quinn Ewers had been out the rest of the year with these games coming up and what is on the line for Texas, I was starting to wonder if they would at least see what Arch Manning did.
Look, they are so fortunate they're in the situation where they can bring Ewers back now. Just surviving K-State.
They were not going to survive with him playing.
Rockstar, give me cut number 8. Betting favorites now to win the Heisman. Bo Nix is currently 3rd. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 2nd. Michael Penix Jr. back to number 1 in the betting favorite. Since 2000, can you name me the non-quarterback Heisman Trophy winners?
Since 2000, Mark Ingram.
Derrick Henry,
running back Alabama. Derrick Henry, running back Alabama. Devontae Smith, wide receiver Alabama.
And then
I'm out.
I think we're done.
Reggie Bush is not recognized by the Heisman, but he did win it in 2005 as a running back for USC. So unless you play for Alabama on a national championship team, it usually goes to a quarterback. Is Marvin Harrison really having that kind of a year?
No.
I mean, I think he's the best receiver in college football, maybe the best player in college football, but is he having a statistical type of year where he is a Heisman Trophy contender?
No, maybe not statistically, but let me ask you the question. If you remove Marvin Harrison from this team, what is their record?
Oh, I think they've got one loss right now.
Yeah.
Maybe last week against Rutgers.
I don't know. Penn State was the game where he caught 1 billion footballs.
Can you pull Devontae's numbers?
163 yards receiving in the when you're talking about against Penn State. So he had a big day there. 2 touchdowns, 25 yards this past week.
I'm going to project that he ends up, Marvin Harrison, with about 75 receptions, about 1,500 total yards, and about 15 touchdowns.
So Devontae Smith, 117 receptions, 1,856 yards, 23 touchdowns.
Yeah, not even close.
In 10 games.
Yeah.
13. No, that's 13 games. That's postseason and everything. But you're right.
Yeah,
10 games
I'm
is when it was voted.
I'm projecting 13 games for Ohio State.
Yeah.
But, it's voted after 12 games for them if they play for the conference championship, 11 if they are 13 if they play for the conference, 12 if they don't.
It is working for him, though. His team is currently number 1 in the country in contention, which to match up with the other non-quarterback winners, they've been on usually the best team in college football that year.
Bo Nix would be one of my finalists right now. Ollie Gordon would be a finalist for Oklahoma State. I mean,
they basically didn't play 3 games.
I mean, but the dude he's gone 6 straight 100-plus yard games, and they've won 6 straight games, and Oklahoma did everything they could to stop him, and they couldn't stop the guy.
Yeah. Injured in 137
And by the way, Jaden
yards.
Daniels would still be up there for me. I know they've got 3 losses, but that kid is unbelievable.
Here's Bo Nix on just where this Oregon team is right now and how they played since the loss to Washington.
How would you describe the way the team has responded from Seattle?
I'd say elite. I'd say we've done really good. Obviously, that was a tough day, but I think that we have done exactly what I think we've done the best we can out of that situation. I think we've come back from it. We have put together a bunch of really good wins, and I think we've been dynamic, really, in our whole team. I think defense, special teams, and offense has all responded and started to play really good at this point in the season.
Yeah, Bo Nix in Oregon currently leading the way in the college football playoff discussion of the one-loss teams. We talked to Brandon Marcello about all of that when we come back on the show that's being brought to you in part by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, 2 great locations. The original Crestline Village will be out there tomorrow night for Odie's Team Trivia. Of course, there's a new location in Homewood right there on the corner of Broadway and Oxmoor. Stop in, enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis. Ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. It's Birmingham Institution. It's Odie's Tavern, Crestline, and now Homewood.
Start each game week on Monday morning live with ESPN's Tom Luganville and Jim Dunaway. 7 a.m. everywhere you get the next round.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com. Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality, service, and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Upset alert with the Brown Bandit trying to stay hot. Did not get an outright win, but a cover this past weekend to widen the lead. That's coming up in the next segment. Here we want to talk to our friend Brandon Marcello, brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make that call today. And if you see Dr. Mark Michelson or Dr. Jen Michelson by 12/31 by New Year's Eve and have the procedure done, special pricing brought to you by the Next Round. For more information, 205-969-8100 or online, michelsonlaservision.com.
Brandon, 24/7 Sports. Brandon Marcello joins us all the time. We greatly appreciate his time as always. You guys love to hear from him. He is with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Brandon Marcello? How are you?
What's up, guys?
Just hanging out. We love November Chaos, and we get it almost every year. The one that would seem like, there's the rosters might tell me there's a chance of happening, but USC just fired their defensive coordinator. There's no way they go to Oregon and win this game. I mean, aren't those the types that happen, and we look back on it and say, well, crap, I should not have discounted that.
No, it's possible. I mean, I had Washington USC as one of my top games last week just because I thought it was possible that USC could do it because they got the offensive firepower to beat anybody in the country. And, gosh, if you just get that defense to make 3 stops in the game, they could win. I do think that, we talk about talent and coaching. That USC's defense is bad because of the coaching. It's not the talent. They've got talent. I mean, you look at the average amount of missed tackles they've had. I think it's like 11 missed tackles per game this year, which is up from last year, which was like 10.4, something like that. It's coaching. They've got better talent than they had last year, and yet they're doing worse. And so, I definitely think USC could beat Oregon. I think they could beat anybody in the country if they can just get 3 stops a game by their defense, but that's not happening.
What's more surprising in year 2, that Brian Kelly has 3 losses at LSU or Lincoln Riley has 3 losses at USC?
That's a good question. I'm going to say USC, Lincoln Riley, just because I thought the defense was going to be a little bit better this year. And in the Pac-12, no matter how strong it is, the schedule's still a little bit weaker than the SEC. And I think at most, if you had told me, I would say at most USC would have 1 loss right now. They should. And that would probably have been at Notre Dame. But even now, you look at Notre Dame looks like it's just an above-average team this year. But that's more disappointing to me. LSU, it's just they've been ravaged a little bit by injuries on that defense, especially in the secondary, kind of trying to come together and gel together. And, LSU and USC are very similar this year. Explosive offenses, great quarterbacks, and just subpar defense.
Yeah, I'm on pain meds right now. I'll go ahead and tell you a little back problem, I think. So this may not make sense, but here's my hot take. There'll be no chaos this year. We always say there's going to be chaos.
Well, because there always is.
Yeah, but no chaos this year. Is there a possibility there's no chaos, that we are jam-packed at the top with too many one-loss teams and a few undefeated teams?
Possible. In fact, my buddy Chris Hummer works at 24/7 Sports with me. Put out a hypothetical this morning about, what if let me try to get this all together. But pretty much it was, what if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game? Texas wins out. Washington or Oregon finish just with 1 loss as a Pac-12 champion, and Florida State goes undefeated. Who gets left out in that scenario? And to me, it would be Texas in the Big 12. And even that, there'd be upset Texas fans, of course, but I don't think that would be all that controversial. Even though, quote unquote, Texas has the win against Alabama, Alabama would have had the stronger schedule at that point. And of course, Texas has that loss to OU, and OU may very well be completely out of the top 25, not even sniffing it by the end of this year. So, yeah, there's just, as much as it seems like at times we're having like closer games and everything, we haven't had that massive upset this year. Gosh, I mean, week 2 or week 3, we're all sitting there thinking, hey, this is setting up to be like a 2007 type of year. Hasn't been anywhere close to that.
Brandon Marcello is with us at Marcello on Twitter. 24/7 Sports is where you read his work, watch his videos, do everything for him. We ask you to do for us. Give everything a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to him and you follow everything he does. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. In a scenario such as yours, there is a perception out there that because of the demise of the Pac-12, they don't have the pull that an SEC or a Big Ten or even a Big 12 does, and that might impact a one-loss Oregon. Is that a bad perception, do you think?
I don't think that'll be the case this year. I think a one-loss Oregon or Washington will be in the playoff. I don't think a lot of people would argue against that either from fan perspective. I think the Pac-12 is stronger in the eyes of fans this year. I think actually the demise of the Pac-12 has actually helped that perspective because everybody wants that underdog story, so to speak, and their last gasp out there. So yeah, I don't buy into that, and I don't buy into the committee really trying to bury the Pac-12. And for that matter, we look through history. The top 4 teams in the playoff committee era would have been the same top 4 teams in the BCS computer polls. And I can go on and on about this, but there's no freaking we shouldn't even have a freaking committee. There's no point in it. We're paying all these guys extra money and flying them into Dallas, staying in that posh hotel, hanging out, and they're sitting in a room watching football games and all this, and all they're doing is looking at stats and analytics and pretty much doing the computer's work for the computer.
Do you think we always will? Do you think we will in the future of a 12 or 16-team playoff?
I think they will. Yeah, they'll continue to have that committee there because now it becomes a greater margin for error. They'll continue to do it because they're getting closer and closer to doing what obviously the NCAA tournament does in men's basketball. You have a committee. That's just what they're going to do. But in a 4-team playoff era, it's proven out to be that there was no point in having this committee. They won't say it. They'll never say it. And you'll have people coming out and defend it against it. But it's been ridiculously put together.
The committee is there. The committee's there to protect the SEC and the Big Ten, I believe. It really is. If the computer spits out something wrong, then we got to make sure that the people who really pay the bills, the SEC and the Big Ten, get their team in there. I believe the committee is there to protect the power.
It's just a resume builder. It's like any of us. We go out there and we're part of some city council or school board or something in our community and put it on a resume and show just how good of people we are.
You were talking about there hasn't been that massive upset yet, but you look back, and I think at the end of the year, there are 2 teams, depending if there's a little attrition and chaos at the top. Oklahoma State losing at home to South Alabama and getting whipped. I mean, right now, the way they're playing, if they would have found their offense early on with Ollie Gordon, that's a one-loss team. Maybe not even a one-loss team because the very next week they lose to Iowa State by 7. They might be undefeated right now. And then North Carolina, that weird sequence of back-to-back losses to Virginia and Georgia Tech, they'd be undefeated if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, and I went and saw Oklahoma State in person this weekend in Bedlam, and amazing atmosphere. And it's incredible. It's one of the least talked about coaching jobs this year. They literally took a bye week, and Mike Gundy told the coaches, he told them, you guys are coaching like crap. I'm coaching like crap. Let's rip this all apart, start from scratch. What's working, what isn't? And they went in and said, all right, we're going to run the ball more. We're going to stop using this ridiculous 3-headed quarterback system. We're going to stop rotating at running back. We're going to simplify things. We're going to figure out what our offensive line, who are our best 5 there, instead of rotating some guys in and out. And they've been fantastic. Ollie Gordon is a legitimate Heisman contender. He won't win it this year, but he's a top 5 guy in there. He's rushed for 100+ these last 6 games. They are a team that can beat anybody in the Big 12 right now. And if they were to emerge out of the Big 12 as the Big 12 champion, I think Mike Gundy should be coach of the year because, listen, not a lot of coaches are willing to kind of sit in the front of the mirror and go, I'm not doing a good job. Let's just completely change everything and see what works here. And It's been I mean, not only did they lose to South Alabama, they got their asses kicked, guys, at 33-7, and it wasn't even that close. And Gundy says this. I was talking to Gundy after the game. I said, is this the most of all the seasons you've coached as a head coach, 19 years, is this the most improbable stretch you've had, including the championship run in 2011, all that? And he goes, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't think Oklahoma State's not going to be in a playoff picture. That's why they're not being talked about. But man, the coaching job that's been done there has been amazing. And as you said, that they're ruining the hopes of some Big 12 teams out there, including OU.
Hey, keep in mind,
and maybe Texas in the Big 12 championship game.
Keep in mind, pain medication. But is the paddles at Oklahoma State games? Is that like the cowbells at Mississippi State games? Are they loud?
They are loud if you're on the field. And it also helps that the field is so close to the stands. It's like 8 yards. It's one of the tightest sidelines out there. In fact, they don't allow any media on the sidelines because there's literally no room for it. I don't know if you guys saw the game. There was a catch. Drake Stoops for OU was catching a ball, and he was going out of bounds. It's probably pass interference. They didn't throw the flag. But you can see the paddles are literally like within arm's distance of him as they're hitting it as he's landing out the side of the end zone. It's you get too far out there, you're going to get whacked in the head by one of those.
Yeah, it's so tight. I think they do the pop-up 10 in the end zones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It's not even on the sidelines. Yeah.
What was that crowd breakdown?
It was 85% Oklahoma State. It was like OU bought up every ticket they could in their section, but I didn't see any OU fans like splattered across, really. It was a great atmosphere because that stadium, if you've ever been, it's a smaller venue, but as I said, it's real tight and it's really great. And the problem is it's like trying to get down the field, even as fans trying to storm it. 2 years ago, I was there for Bedlam. They stormed the field, and the drop off from the stands is like 8 feet, right? And it's just solid concrete, and you got to drop off. And I watched 2 people break a leg, including a compound fracture, which I never want to see that again.
Brandon.
Yeah. But this time they learned they had security helping people out and then other people helping each other out. It was like a slow trickle, but it's a great, great venue.
So the last couple of games at Tuscaloosa, you've seen that hate with the revenge games for Alabama against Tennessee and LSU. I don't know if we've seen any more hate than we saw this past week in Stillwater, though. Were you out at bars Friday and Saturday night, and were there any confrontations?
No confrontation I went out there Friday night, but I was out there Saturday night cruising, looking for the goalposts, actually. And it was, of course, more celebratory there. Although I did see some, I don't know if they would say SWAT team type, and they were wearing like SWAT gear and look like airsoft paint guns, probably rubber bullets. I don't know, whatever. I guess they were getting ready for maybe a riot, but obviously that wasn't happening. Downtown's really cool there, the Strip. And it was packed. They carried the goalpost down to Theta Pond, which is pretty much like half a mile away from the stadium, and they threw it in the pond, and it sank, of course. And then apparently, like a few hours later, some people went back out there and went into the water and got it out and started like sawing up pieces of it, much like Ole Miss did when they beat Alabama years ago.
That sounds safe. A couple of drunk students get in the pond, pull it up.
Yeah.
Well, I walked down there because I was looking for it. I didn't see it. And there were some people like hovering around, drinking whiskey and everything and really drunk, just hanging there, reminiscing and everything. And, a lot of them were saying it wasn't in there anymore. It's like, yeah, I think they took it out or whatever, but it was still in there. You just couldn't see it.
Is that the death permanently of that rivalry, do you think, when Oklahoma comes to the SEC? Could we ever see it again?
They should, but it's so stupid. The whole thing, everything's stupid these days. I liken it a lot to Texas and Texas A&M when A&M left. Listen, their quote-unquote non-conference schedules are pretty much filled every year through 2037, OU and Oklahoma State. There's one opening, really, considering the criteria, because they're all worried about Power 5 non-conference games. They've already got Power 5 non-conference games scheduled, both of them. 2031, there's an opening, but they won't schedule it just for a one-off. And Mike Gundy's convinced, we'll just play him in a bowl game. It's silly. I mean, it doesn't make like a big national splash all that much unless it's like an upset like this past weekend, but in that state, it obviously matters. Yeah. And we're all these regional rivalry games. We seem to be getting rid of them, and but it doesn't seem like it. I talked to the administrations there. It doesn't seem like there's any push to get it done. If they wanted to play, they could. All you got to do, but do it is go cancel your Power 5 non-conference games from now on. Don't play, Arkansas. Don't play whoever, and schedule Bedlam, but they won't do it because there's feelings hurt.
You did a deep dive on this game this past week. Did you look at a possible scenario if Texas loses down the stretch that we could see Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 championship?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's, in fact, I was talking to Ollie Gordon, and it's like, how does this feel? All that. Getting that last laugh in Bedlam, he goes, I'm not going to say anything because I think we might face him again in the Big 12 championship game. That would be something.
Boy, how disappointing would that be for Texas?
Oh, hugely. But, you want to talk bad blood. Boy, let him play in the Big 12 championship game. Wow. On the way out the door. Woo.
And Oklahoma State's got a pretty clear path. I think their last 3 games are all against Big 12 newcomers. And we know how they're doing in the Big 12 this year. They're doing poorly, so.
Not good. Not good. All right, he is Brandon Marcello, always exceptional this time with us. Brandon, thank you very much for that time. We always appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.
All right, buddy, take care. Brandon with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you by our friends at Bromberg's as well, LT.
Yeah, since 1836, family-owned and operated. The holiday season right around the corner. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go see the Diamond Specialist. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box from our friends at Bromberg's. 2 locations, Mountainburg and the Summit. You can shop online right now. Check out their vast selection. Go to Brombergs.com.
24 points, 7 rebounds for Grant Nelson last night. As 17 rebounds, as Grant Nelson makes his debut. Aaron Estrada for Alabama, 16 points. Number 24, Alabama beats Moorhead 105-73. Bradley catches UAB in overtime down at Bartow. 2 hopefully tournament teams there, 73-71. Bradley are winner. Auburn's got number 20 Baylor tonight to open up their season. You can watch that game on ESPN, 8 o'clock this evening. As it's number 7 Baylor, number 15 Auburn in the Ken Palm, but Auburn not ranked in the AP poll.
Got a lock on that one.
That's 8 o'clock ESPN. That's what I'm getting to. And then there's 3 games as well in college football, action going on. Do you have a locks up? How many locks do you have up already?
So I've got a free play on Auburn Baylor in Sioux Falls, South Dakota tonight, and then I've got 2 sides in the MAC.
2 sides in the MAC there. Lance'sLock.com is where you get Lance's play. Lance'sLock.com. After a body bag weekend, not in a good way, he came back last night and was 5-0 last night.
That's a way to bounce back, Lance.
Look, Saturday and Sunday were awful again, and it sucks, and I was beat up about it. But last week, going into the weekend, we were 7-3. Last night, coming out to close the week, we were 5-0. So the overall record was not horrific. Saturday and Sunday compounded. It was just the worst Saturday-Sunday combo we've had in the 9 years of the history.
Yeah, Lance'sLock.com to go get the plays there. And when we come back, we'll make our own plays. We've got our upset alert queued up and ready to go. We'll make our picks for this weekend's college football game with our new criteria. Got to be at least a 4.5-point underdog. And if you cover, you get 5 points like the Brown Bandit did last week. If you win outright, you get those bonus points as well for the number of points you get there. Legacy bringing you the show today. You can go ahead and bounce there, LT. I'll tell you about our friends at Legacy. Everyday checking now available for teens 13 to 17 with adult sign up. Teach your kids. I'm just saying, it's going to be long. Y'all can go ahead and bounce out of here.
Well, I had a point about the upset alert.
Okay. Teach your kids on how to manage their money and handle their debit card responsibly. No monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and you get paid early. Apply online in minutes today at LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Again, 13 to 17 with adults. Sign up there. Teach your kids about checking. Terms and conditions apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA, official sponsor of UAB Athletics.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round Golf Court is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Maverick says Gundy should be coach of the year just because he changes his hairstyle from the beginning of the year. Paul says Gundy is a top 10 coach, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. And I'll let you make your point. But he also is the guy who was the coach that didn't recognize what he had with Ollie Gordon, and they did lose those games to start the year. So you can't give full credit for what they've done in the turnaround, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, to make the adjustments, and he did. Self-admit, look, we're doing a crappy job coaching. And
I do like that.
We've got to be held accountable for that. We got to flip this thing around. And I think Brown and I got in an argument about Gundy earlier this year because my point was, what are real expectations for Oklahoma State? I mean, it seems like every 4 or 5 years he's got them in contention to get to a college football playoff.
I'm not considered. I'm just thinking Texas is going to win their games. Had not considered them facing Oklahoma again. But all it takes is a Texas loss, assuming Oklahoma can win the rest of theirs.
So it just takes one Texas loss?
Well, yeah, because then they would both have 2 conference losses, Oklahoma and Texas, right?
Well, Texas only has...
Yeah, but if Texas loses again, and they'll have 2.
That'll be a 3-way tie.
There'll be a 3-way tie. Oklahoma State will have beaten both of them, so they go. So then it goes to head-to-head with Oklahoma, Texas.
It seems like Oklahoma's season's much worse than that.
Well, I think it would be just so Big 12 for this week in Texas to lose in Fort Worth, and then Oklahoma to lose. Oklahoma State goes to Central Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's not a crazy stretch for Oklahoma either. They host West Virginia, who's better than they have been. They're at 6-3 right now, coming off a big win over BYU. They're at BYU, who is awful. And then they get TCU, who is pretty mid. So, I mean, Oklahoma winning the rest of theirs isn't crazy. If Texas drops one of these games, Oklahoma State is happening.
One more point on that. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Wayne's. This holiday season, give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with $50 off reoccurring Wayne's Pest Control Services. You get $50 off those reoccurring services. That includes the pest control and the termite protection and all that you get right there with our friends at Wayne's. Keep the celebrations joyful and free of the unwanted critters that come inside when it gets cold outside. Keeping your family, children, and pets all safe, protecting your home for over 50 years. It's our friends at Wayne's. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and rodents before they come in. Call 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1, or go online to callwaynes.com. The Big 12 respectability, though. I mean, they got Texas in the conversation for the college football playoffs. Oklahoma State is surging. Got a couple of Heisman contenders in that league, but the Pac-12's reputation is so much better than the Big 12's reputation this year, isn't it?
Yeah, this year. And I think there is a sentiment out there for people, nostalgic people that love the history of college football and what that conference was from the Pac-8 to the Pac-10 to the Pac-12 now. And now that it's not a lot of these institutions' fault that this thing has collapsed. And so I think there is at least a contingent that want to see the Pac-12 represented in college football playoff this year.
So if it comes down to one loss Texas, one loss Oregon, you think it goes to? I
respect what Oregon has done.
Yeah,
a lot because there seem to be tougher games. It's the ACC I'm having the biggest problem with.
But Florida State's going to be
unbeaten, and they got a win over LSU that doesn't look as impressive now, and they're going to be unbeaten.
That's your problem.
But I watch a lot of ACC football, as I know you guys do. That's not a good league.
I tell you, if you want to open this whole thing up and not even really have to worry about chaos, let Florida State somehow drop one of these games.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched Florida and Florida State long enough to know that that's kind of like Georgia and Florida. It's usually a crappy game. But I think Florida is good enough this year to beat Florida State. I don't think they will.
It's in Gainesville,
It's in
too.
Gainesville.
Yeah.
I think Miami has the talent to beat Florida State this weekend. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
But either one of those games could go the other way.
It's in Gainesville, and never discount coach coaching for his job. You get a rivalry game, coach trying to save his job. It can at times.
Napier with that recruiting class coming in, he's won a couple of good games this year to beat the rival would be enough to put everybody aside.
And don't discount players not knowing that my coach is maybe getting fired, and they go out and play the best game of their season. Crowd gets it. I mean, it's just there are a lot of factors in that Florida State game.
Just in that league, Boston College and Georgia Tech, who I don't think either one are great football teams.
BC had every opportunity without the penalties to beat Florida State.
And look where they are now. BC was on the way to firing their coach. They're bowl eligible now, aren't they?
They've won 6 straight games.
Yeah, bowl eligible.
By the way, that Florida State game's back on Saturday. I thought it was a Black Friday night game last year.
If you don't want
was
Florida
fun.
State in this, blame Dabo because Clemson did everything they could to win that game.
Had a chance to do it. Let's get to our upset alert brought to you by Dr. B today, the guy that's brought LT's hair hat-free today. Tell us about Dr. B, and we'll hit the open.
Yeah, Dr. B, I went to see him 2 weeks ago for that Census Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary, as Dr. B can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. For more information on this, T3hair.net. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedure. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since I went to see Dr. B. Make the phone call that I made, 205-319-0316 or T3hair.net.
The College Football Spotlight.
Sound the alarm. College football's upset alert.
Rich Law, Florida State will beat Florida like a drum. I feel that way too. Miami is the best bet for Florida State loss, but that ain't happening. Miami coming off a 6-point offensive output this past week.
I know.
When they get it all together, though.
When they get it all together. Where's the upset alert standings? The Brown Bandit
Holy crap.
picked up 5 points, but now that we're in the bonus round.
That's right.
Hey, how did you change the scoring during the season? I would have at least 40 points.
At least.
I would.
Well, this is the way I wanted to do it.
I thought that's the way we were doing it at the beginning, and then it got changed.
We punted it out, yeah.
So I'm confused on how we changed scoring middle of the season.
We brought it back here just to try to give you and me a chance to catch up. So hopefully we can catch up.
I think technically I'm in first place with this system.
Yeah. Well, I can go back and check.
Just check it. I think I had South Alabama that week against Oklahoma State, and I think that was like a big 34-point flip.
Oh, that would be huge.
Well, I don't think you did.
I think he did.
I don't think you did.
I'm going to spend a little time.
Do you really not think I did?
I really don't. I really don't remember. I barely remember week to week.
Pretty sure I did.
Remember all that talk about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in the Big 12
Boomer
championship
Sooner,
game?
Jimmy.
No.
Yep.
I got up here, and every team I wanted to pick today had gold or yellow in the color. And
so you let that determine your pick?
Well, no, I don't have any gold and yellow, so I just put brown in place of gold and yellow.
Very close.
I took West Virginia Virginia.
Those are literally some shitty alternate uniforms.
It really is. 13.5. I'm going to take the Mountaineers this weekend. What a job by Neil Brown and company the year they've done. I just think Oklahoma's in a tailspin. They don't get out of it. Give me plus the 13.5 in West Virginia. I hate this play. I'll go ahead and tell you.
You hate it. Good. All right.
Hate the drawing. Hate the play.
You seemed a little shaky when you sent your 5 a.m. text to us.
Yeah, you changed it twice.
I liked Miami better. I liked Vandy better.
Why did you not go with those?
I didn't go with either one of those.
Colors?
I went with this one.
Because of color? We got orange and green.
I could have done Miami easy.
Yeah.
I thought y'all would laugh at me on Miami.
No.
Yeah. I mean, they just 6 points. Is all they
Boston
scored.
College almost beat Florida State. Who's better, Boston College or Miami?
Keon Coleman scores 6 points before they even get through with stretching.
Yeah, I got you.
I think we're going to get this upset this week. I really do.
Oh, the one you got?
I go to Seattle, 2:30. Washington is not playing great football. In Utah, Bryson Barnes is coming off his best career game. I know it was against Arizona State, but they put a 55 spot on him. And I think when you look at Jaquindon Jackson running the football, keeping Michael Penix Jr. off the field, this is a disciplined team that will come to play. This will be the most physical team they've seen all year. I like Utah straight up, but plus 9.5 in this spot.
Hey, if Utah wins it straight up,
right,
with the rally scoring, you get 5 plus that 9.5. That's 14.5, and you're only 13 back. If you hit and the Brown Bandit doesn't hit, you're in first place.
The Brown Bandit doesn't hit.
Oh, the Brown Bandit
What's
joins
up,
us down.
guys?
Hey,
How are
man.
you?
How are you?
I'm great, man. Everybody doing okay today?
Got some isotoners on?
Dang,
Oh,
what
no.
are those?
Yeah, I had two.
Was that for dismemberment of a body with acid?
Picks are so hot, I got to wear gloves now, guys.
Oh.
Yeah,
So many props. So many props.
Those look like pricey gloves.
No. I got to wear the gloves. The picks are so hot. Here, I brought something for your pick.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I need that.
Anything for my picks?
I'm not worried about yours. Hey, so we're so hot now.
Hey, I enjoyed it when you were coaching the Astros there. The Dusty Baker had those batting gloves on, didn't he?
Oh, he's that toothpick flipping around in my mouth.
Could you operate a number 2 pencil with those?
I don't know, man. These are hard here.
Yeah, that looks tough.
It's tough. But
Are
the
those
picks,
lab gloves?
Yeah, a lot of questions about the gloves, guys. Picks are so hot. I got to wear them, Rockstar. They're so hot. I got to wear them.
You'll keep talking about my gloves.
Yeah, so
Stop focusing on my hands.
I got to pick this pick up at some point, and they're so hot, I got to wear the gloves here.
Chris, yes, they wore white gloves when he started.
Yeah, the Brown Bandit. I've scorched them. I've won so many. I think I've only missed 3 games this year. If you'll go back and look while you're looking for his pick in week 3, if you'll go back and calculate my picks, I think I've only missed 3 this year. That's how hot these picks have been, right? And people are coming to me all the time like, Brown Bandit, who are we going with this week? Brown Bandit. And I'm like, man, you just gotta watch on Tuesday. All right, so here's who we're going with. So I'm playing this, Dunaway. Here's my thinking on this. Who's just snuck into the top 25 from the group of 5? Just snuck in there.
In the AP top 25?
I believe it's going to probably be in the playoffs tonight as well, but yeah, in the AP.
I got your answer. It's Liberty.
It's Liberty.
Liberty, yes.
Undefeated Liberty.
9-0 Liberty. What, 9-0 Liberty, undefeated. I saw them play in person. I went over to have you ever heard of Jacksonville, Alabama? Do you guys talk about Jacksonville State?
Yes. I learned that their airport is not JAX.
Yeah, I don't think there is an airport there. But unless you're flying an illegal drug plane. I went over there and I watched them play Liberty. Liberty's a good football team, but what's happened to all these group of 5 teams that sneak into the top 25? What's happened to all of them?
They lose?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, huh?
It is.
Would you call that a trend and/or angle?
Yes.
I would too. And it's going to happen again this week. It's so hot. I got to wear gloves. Give me Old Dominion. Old Dominion. 13.5. They are playing Liberty. And guys, I hate to tell you this, if you're a Liberty fan, if you like Jerry Falwell, if you're Southern Baptist to the core, and this is your Notre Dame, Liberty is going to lose this game. Old Dominion, Rockstar, 13.5 points. Do we need them? Hey,
I wouldn't think you would.
You wouldn't think so?
But when you said you went to a Jack State game, what does the Brown Bandit drive? That's curious to see. Like,
the Bandit Mobile.
Are you on a horse?
I thought you bought a used UPS.
Hey, listen.
To deliver all that cash around.
The Brown Mobile.
Listen, hey, when people call back there for the pick, tell the guys in the back, Rockstar. Make sure you tell them it's Old Dominion, not New Dominion. All right? Say it with me. Old Dominion.
Old Dominion.
Because one time Brown Bandit confused Old Mexico and New Mexico. And that was the night I learned the phrase "Ella no es un prostituta," and there are a couple of federales that pay very close attention to these picks every week now because of that one mistake I made in my life.
Okay.
Yes, New Dominion. Hola, mi amigos, ¿cómo está? Hey, so Old Dominion, 13.5. Rockstar, do we need them? Rockstar, do we need them?
I would give it a hell
Rockstar.
no. I would give it a hell no.
We don't need them. No. Old Dominion outright in my No LS on Prostituta game of the year.
All right, Old Dominion.
The transition is the awkward part. This part. Done away.
Okay.
If there's a curtain,
yeah,
it's over.
Okay.
That's our
Blobs are hot.
They're hot. That's our upset alert today. Brought to you by our friend Gutter Cap and C Stew. Tell us about Gutter Cap taking us to the top of the hour. 4 downs, trash, and a lot more still to come in the final hour.
It is a patented aluminum system. It will fit over most existing gutters. You'll never have to clean the gutters again. Call Chris Stewart today. Get an absolutely free estimate. The last thing you want to do, all the leaves are falling right now, is get on the roof, slip and fall, snap the neck and die. You're no good for the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. 205-823-2212. For more information, guttercapbirmingham.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmond Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention Next Round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at legacycreditunion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
Hi, this is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. You're not average, and the New Balance Birmingham store has the shoes and apparel to perfectly match your unaverage self. If we were all shaped the same and had the same level of fitness, and if we all walked and ran exactly alike, well, then I guess an average shoe store selling average shoes would be just fine. But you deserve better. At the New Balance Birmingham store, our specialists will match you with a custom pair of New Balance shoes that fit you perfectly. Come see us at the New Balance Birmingham store. Your feet will thank you.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour of the show here as we talk a little college football. We'll get to 4 downs. LT has that for us as well. Basketball last night, Alabama a winner. UAB drops a close one to Bradley in overtime at home tonight. Auburn taking on number 20 Baylor. 8 o'clock, you can watch that game on ESPN. Be a good gauge on what you got on the roster with Auburn. Forrester was telling me pre-show that Janai Broome was a little banged up in the exhibition season, so he's not 100%, which means you'll get better Auburn down the stretch when he's 100%. But if Auburn's able to beat this Baylor team, which I personally don't think they'll do, but if they are, that would be a huge win.
Go a little stake on this one straight up.
Oh, you like Auburn?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's Lance's lock.
But Broome is a little banged up. He was kind of doubtful. He is going to play. Yeah. Aiden Holloway, same thing with an ankle, didn't play in the exhibition. He's going to play the true freshman. So it's going to be exciting to see him.
So you're saying I don't even have to give you the 2 points?
No.
Straight up? Is that a gift to the Auburn fan, Forrester?
Yes, do it. 100%. Do it. Please do it.
I will take Baylor straight up for a stake tonight.
Okay, just a little behind the scenes. Scott Drew's only returning one starter. Now, they've got a bunch of newcomers that are supposed to be really good. I just think it's going to be one of these, once he mixes together, Baylor's going to get better. I think Auburn's getting them in a great spot right here.
In the first game with all these
with Williams
new guys.
and Broome, you've got some experience there still on that Auburn team. And you've got so many newcomers for Scott Drew. So I think it's a good spot for Auburn.
8 o'clock ESPN, so you can watch it. You can watch the lock-in action, 8 o'clock ESPN tonight.
I will. So there you go. Stake bet for that one. Our steaks always brought to you by our great friends at New York Butcher Shop. This hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie. I actually have a play at MyBookie.ag on this game right now.
Oh, you already got Baylor?
I've already put it in for Baylor.
Do you just spray the board every day?
Yeah, if you want to call it that. I've only got 3 plays tonight.
What did you like? What did you like in that play?
It seemed like a very tiny number for Baylor, who's ranked, and Auburn, who's unranked. I was like, it's only 2 points. What could go wrong
only
here?
2 points on a neutral court. Yes.
I think Auburn's going to be better than advertised.
It all starts tonight.
Yeah, I think Auburn should be in the back end of these rankings.
And there probably will be if they win this game.
I agree with that now. It's 7 versus 15 in the Ken Palm.
Yeah.
Auburn's a top
and I think
15 team.
that's more accurate right now than what you get with these rankings.
Yeah. MyBookie.ag is where Dunaway makes his plays. You can make your plays there as well. MyBookie.ag, code next round. When you use code next round right now, you get that sign-on bonus, 50% deposit match there, 50% deposit match up to $1,000. That is money you can play right there at MyBookie.ag when you use code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. College basketball heating up, college football, NFL. I'm looking right now, Baylor favored 1. Where did y'all play that game?
Played it at 2. Well, we played it even. We played it straight up.
Pick. Baylor favored 1, so there you go. You have a total of 147.5, in case you're wondering.
Well, I played it at 2 this morning. It's already moved a point, not in my direction.
Hey,
imagine that.
Real quick, I got to bring this up. MLB Network, because I've seen this shot the last couple of days. Do you guys recognize that shot? I don't even know who the reporter is.
No, is it at the place we stayed in Phoenix?
It's
Camelback. Camelback,
yeah. Because I remember doing a Boise interview in front of that fireplace.
Yeah, that was a nice little resort right there. The Camelback
that's a cool
resort,
place.
Did we stay at Camelback?
No, we did our shows from there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We stayed next door,
I was there at Camelback for the Oregon Auburn National Championship game.
Yeah. MyBookie.ag, code next round. That's where you sign on and use that sign-on bonus and get that deposit bonus, 50% deposit match up to $1,000 at MyBookie.ag, code next round.
Also a little play there on Drexel tonight. I got Drexel -1.
What did you like in that game?
I just thought I liked the name Drexel.
That's amazing. You had a car towed.
That was Gary Oldman's character that I was trying to think of in True Romance.
Was it?
The other day.
Drexel?
Yeah.
And you got that at 1.5?
-1.5.
Yeah, it's 2.5 now. So
you
got
Dunaway's moving the number.
That one's going in my direction.
You got your point back from the Auburn-Baylor game right there.
I may need it in the other place. Yeah. They may be parlayed together. Who knows?
Are you sure you don't need another book just to compare numbers?
What's your third play?
I may have parlayed the Baylor and Drexel winners.
So you played them straight up and parlayed them. Yes. So you got literally all your eggs in one basket. Okay.
Bookmaker's dream.
Smart there.
So
Dip.
easy to go 2-0.
Yeah.
So easy to go 2-0.
You lose a pretty good substantial amount tonight if you go 1-1.
He has not considered that. No.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot. But I got a stake with you, which is always
so it
fun.
could be 1-3. So let's put it this way: if Baylor loses to Auburn, you lose everything tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you've got this much writing on
Baylor.
On Baylor playing a game in freaking South Dakota.
That is literally you've got them willed. You've got them in every one of your bets.
You want the bring in Forrester's microphone. You want the true story of this whole thing? I had nothing played. And I just taken another pain pill this morning.
Right, that's a smart time.
And I'm sitting here upset about drawing my West Virginia logo because I don't have a yellow. And I couldn't figure out a team I wanted to pick that didn't have yellow in it. And Forrester walking by said to me, he's like, "Hey, morning, Jim." And then he said, "Oh, did you see what Hokanson tweeted? What'd you say?"
I said that Hoke said that Auburn was going to get exposed in this game.
Ooh.
Wait. So that's what he says, not reading the tweet. So then I'm like, I mean, that's Hokanson tweeting that out. That's not insider trading. Let me go put 100 units on mybookie.ag on Baylor. It's only 2. Then he comes back and he reads me the actual tweet from Hokanson, which doesn't sound anything like what Forrester
Is
just
this kind
said.
of like, what's the dude for AL.com? Joseph Goodman.
Yeah.
He always writes this sensational headline, and then you read it, you're like, this wasn't what I was supposed to be reading.
Exactly. Forrester says Hoke says Auburn's going to get exposed in this game. And I'm like, exposed is not a good thing. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Give me Baylor. Then he comes back and reads me the tweet. What is it?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me, but it's essentially that could be a positive.
Yeah, yes. It could be exposed as a really good team.
Auburn getting exposure.
That's not the way you phrased it there, Forrester. So you made it sound like it was going to be an ass whooping.
Yeah, Scott.
And then he comes back, he reads the actual tweet. It could be basically a coming out party for Auburn tonight.
Hey, I appreciate you taking them, War Eagle.
all part of your plan is what that was. All right, Slice brings us our 4 downs every day right here on the show. LT has them for us today. Tell us about Slice.
I am meeting our buddy Brett at Slice today. He's never been before.
Oh.
How about that?
Get him out, Hot Mama.
I may go with you.
Yeah, you need to.
I'm hungry.
I forgot. The way they do it is you get a slice and a salad, and that red mott salad is fantastic.
So good.
But it depends on the day what the different slices are, right? You're always going to have cheese available. I think they're always going to have perfect pepperoni. But then it just depends on the day what you get. I don't know what Tuesday is, but fabulous pizza, local ingredients. This great concept created by the late Jeff Bajaya, his brothers Jason and Chris continue the legacy. Get into one of those 4 locations or online, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Scott! More surprising year 2, Sonny Dykes or Brian Kelly?
I knew Sonny Dykes and TCU was going to be this. So it's Brian Kelly.
That is a massive fall off, though. I mean, it is Brian Kelly for me, too, because I expected this LSU team was going to be. I mean, if I would have told you guys this LSU team averages 46 points per game, you'd be like, oh, with Brian Kelly and the defenses he had at Notre Dame,
yeah.
I mean, they were going to be at a championship contender.
I want to rewind.
They do talk in the chat room lately that they're wondering if LSU is going to change their mascot to the Rams, that they're the LSU Rams in your eyes these days.
No, look, I said after that first loss against Florida State, I changed my pick to Michigan winning the national championship.
Yeah. But Brian Kelly, with Jaden Daniels back, with the linebacker, the lineman, those receivers, it just seemed like a lot of talent. I agreed with you. I thought they'd be a playoff contender. I didn't think they'd win the national championship. I thought they'd be a playoff contender. The fact that they lost to Ole Miss, lost to Alabama the way they did, and lost to Florida State is surprising.
You know, TCU to me is almost like Minnesota, purple schemes by the way, of the NFL, who had 11 one-possession wins last year. And TCU just won every one of those games, and it seemed like Max Duggan. And those games have kind of gone the opposite direction. And then there are some games they've just gotten completely blown out. But going back to the Colorado game, 1-possession loss. West Virginia, 1-possession loss. Last week to Texas Tech, 1-possession loss. You flip those around, they're having a pretty good season.
Was it last year they missed? Last week they missed a kick that would have tied it or won it. TCU. Somewhere I'm watching them. And remember last year when they ran that team out with no timeouts?
Against Baylor.
Fourth down.
Yeah, fire drill against Baylor.
Fire drill, kicked a long field goal, won the game, walked it off. This year, it was almost the same thing. They had to kick a field goal at the end to tie it or win it, and they missed it.
The amazing thing about last year's TCU team was that they won a game in the college football playoff. It wasn't necessarily them getting there because they didn't even win their own conference. It was the fact that they beat Michigan.
Can I make a point real quick before I give you my answer?
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys were watching the end of Florida-Arkansas regulation where Billy Napier, they were completely confused, right? And Sam Pittman was arguing about this, and it's the same thing that happened in Baylor-TCU last year that Dave Aranda got upset about. The old fire drill where I get the first down and I got to run my team on, You should stop and let me match substitutions there, right? By rule,
I'm supposed to get a chance to substitute.
And then the clock's going to start, because even if you pick up the first down, as soon as it's marked, the clock starts, and I should get to match. And that's what Aranda got upset about last year, and Pittman was upset again this year, because they were not going to allow them to match substitutions. Now, Florida ran the offense back on and spiked it, which was the smart play, but Napier was so out of sorts. They had like 30 guys on the field at one time.
Yep.
And Pittman was pissed. He's like, why were you not going to let me match substitutions? The clock could have run out.
That's right. By rule, we need to check with Steve Shaw and them. By rule, the way you do it the rest of the game
That's
in
the way
the
it should
scenarios.
Be. Even if you fire drill on a field goal team, I should be able to. You should stand there and not let them snap it and let me match, and the clock will run out.
So Florida's going to be an underdog in all their games moving
Florida?
forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So if they end up going 5-7, do you guys think he loses his job? That would be a 5-game losing streak to end the season and not getting bowl eligible.
Yeah, I think you could, especially with Florida State potentially in the playoffs. That hurts him too.
You guys think they win in Baton Rouge this week?
Is Jaden Daniels playing? He's day to day.
I don't think
he's
he will.
not. Yeah. Well, if he's not, that game's on the board then.
I still think LSU wins.
I think LSU
and I think
wins
Nussmeier can have a big game. Do you think they go to Missouri and beat the Tigers?
No, I do not.
Do you think they beat Florida State?
I do not. No. Yeah. But here's my point now. If LSU loses another game, every single, and let's remember this moment, okay? Next August when we're doing this, when the AP poll comes out and we say, hey, every year a team starts in the top 10 and they finish unranked. And every single year we say, guys, this is not going to be the year. It just doesn't happen. If LSU loses one more game, there'll be 3. USC, LSU, and Clemson that could potentially.
Was USC a top 10 team?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wow. It's number 6. Clemson was number 9. LSU's number 5. If LSU loses one more game, you could have 3 teams that started in the top 10 and finished unranked.
Clemson could sneak back in.
Ooh, I don't know.
USC
They're only getting one vote right
back
now.
In.
Could. I'm just saying potentially.
And LSU could hang in. So
I mean,
it's not done yet.
I think one probably is out, but I think all 3 have a really good chance.
Yeah.
Of being out?
No.
Sneaking back in.
Okay.
Second down.
More surprising year, too. Caleb DeBoer, what he's doing in Seattle, or Lincoln Riley, what he's not doing in L.A.
For me, it's DeBoer in Washington. I didn't think Michael Penix Jr. could back it up 2 straight years. It wasn't in his DNA. And I just thought being on the radar, Washington would falter. And they have. They just have won these games very sloppily, but they have not played great as of late.
The fact that Lincoln Riley has lost 2 games now? Are they 2 or 3 lost? They're
3 lost.
3 lost. 3 lost because of his defense maybe is surprising. If you told me they were 10-2 because of his defense, I'd have said, yeah, it makes perfect sense. He doesn't coach defense.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little more surprised at DeBoer to be undefeated at this point. Yeah.
I would tell you, though, that they've got 3 losses, but there's been a couple of more they could have lost.
Yeah.
Like they were lucky to beat Cal, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, but, they should have beaten Utah. So, I mean, they're a 3-loss team. I think they're a 3-loss team. I think that's fair.
Third down.
Bigger trap game this weekend. Alabama at Kentucky or Texas at TCU?
Alabama at Kentucky for me, because as good as the offense looked against LSU, it could be LSU's defense is just that bad. And if you get into a low-scoring, sloppy game, that's where Kentucky wants you.
I'll go Texas at TCU for 2 reasons. Number 1, I trust Alabama's coaching staff to get this right more than I trust Texas' coaching staff to get it right. And number 2, I know Alabama is starting their starter, and I don't know about Texas, whether they're starting their starter. If Malik Murphy starts that game, TCU's a very live dog.
Yeah, I don't think Murphy has any confidence right now.
Yeah, I know Bama's starting Jalen Milroe. So I will say the more likely trap game will be Texas at TCU.
Yeah, I would agree with Brown.
Yeah, so does John. Texas, TCU.
Oh, thank you, John. Welcome in.
Fourth down.
Better chance of playing late December football this year, Caleb Williams or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Aaron Rodgers. I think Caleb Williams, late December's bowl game, there is no reason for that kid to play a bowl game at all.
But remember, it's not a threat, but he said if he doesn't like where it's looking, he's going to be shuffled to in the NFL, that he would just possibly come back because of NIL money to USC.
I think that's an idle threat. I think that would be super exciting for USC fans, but I think that's idle threat. And Clyde brought up a really good point. I mean, Caleb Williams has got some experience, but reps are reps. Bryce Young played against Kansas State. What was a meaningless game last year?
I just don't get that threat, though. Okay, you don't like Arizona. Who do you think is going to be picking first next year?
Chicago.
I mean, yeah, who's going to be picking first next year? Somebody that's you think it's going to be Kansas City picking first? Kansas City ain't going to be picking first. Yeah.
I mean,
who you think's going to be picking first every year?
There's a lot of crappy teams that you would consider crappy in the NFL, but that money spends good. It's about the money.
But there are teams like the New York Giants, the New England Patriots, the LA Rams. I mean, teams like that are still in the mix for this number 1 overall pick.
But when's the Giants? When's the last time they've been consistently good?
Oh, my God. The Giants win a championship every 10 years. Every 10 years.
It's a good franchise. I'd rather play for the Giants than anybody Lance just mentioned.
New England.
Patriots?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think you're on the backside for the Patriots there because you're not going to get Belichick
I think I would rather play for the Rams just with the money that they spend now. And having a head coach like...
Just say the Giants are historically a better franchise.
Oh, yeah. There's not even close. But I think I would, and Caleb Williams, if he had an opportunity to stay in L.A.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he played for the Rams in a heartbeat.
When's that last Eli Manning championship? What year was that?
About a decade ago.
Yeah, they're due one. Somebody tell Tommy DeVito.
Dable. He was a playoff coach last year.
Dable, I think Dable's out.
He won't survive this year.
No, I don't think he'll survive
so
this
bad
year.
He has not done a good job of keeping his emotions in check either.
So quick in the NFL.
Yeah.
Playoffs last year, toast of the town.
Well, I think they've got to answer for the fact that Tommy DeVito was their backup in back-to-back weeks and has ended up in the game. How do you go into 2 straight weeks with Tommy DeVito as your backup quarterback?
He wouldn't have been Dable's backup quarterback in Tuscaloosa.
No, gosh, no. You kidding me? When he was playing at Syracuse, Dable in Tuscaloosa had Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
Dable
was in much better shape.
Dable went from Jalen Hurts to Tua Tagovailoa as a backup quarterback in Tuscaloosa, and it's Danny DeVito.
On a way to answer your question, the Giants beat the Patriots, and it's been 10 years.
2013?
2012, so it's been 11 years.
So the report is that Belichick is getting traded where? I can't remember. What are all the reports now that I'm going to have to look it up.
That they're trading Belichick?
Yeah. That was the whole reason he signed that big contract and all that is that because that's something that Daniel Jeremiah said on DJ Football a long time ago. Everybody can talk about Belichick getting fired. He's their best asset. They will get draft picks out of Bill Belichick. Somebody will, it's the Commanders. That's the rumors, the Commanders, that they're going to trade with the Commanders for Bill Belichick. And that was DJ's point. He's like, they'll get draft picks out of him. They're not firing that guy.
So
he's their best piece.
If you're a Commanders fan, would you be excited about that?
I would, yeah.
I would.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just, he's old.
Yeah.
But Nick Saban is too. Would you be excited if you were, I don't know what the equivalent would be in college football.
Yeah, but I feel like Nick Saban controls more. Belichick is a control guy,
coach,
but you just don't have the ultimate control that you have
in college. Yeah, I agree.
That is our 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice. We appreciate them so much. Also, our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. They bring you this entire hour every day. Sterling and his crew, they're wonderful. They give you that Southern fried chicken, cooked to order right there, brined and ready to eat as soon as it comes out of the grease there. So juicy, so tasty, all the wonderful sides. The hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, a great bar area there. Check out their margarita mix. It is unbelievable. They do a specially made margarita there that the team works on. It's terrific. Champy'sChicken.com, Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-patted each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our not for all ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
All right, trash in just a second. Moore's Marinade bringing you this update on what's going on in college football. We mentioned the injuries to some big players. Quinn Ewers could be back for Texas this week. If he does play, does that change your feeling about this TCU team? I mean, I think we are making this game a little bit more difficult to Texas because of last year TCU, not this year. This is not a good team.
Well, there's history too. TCU's won 7 of the last 9 against Texas, and sometimes that matters. I only think it's a game if Malik Murphy is the starter.
Right.
Because I am not convinced, Lance, if Malik Murphy's the starter if you don't see Arch Manning at some point in this game. That's the way Murphy has played primarily.
I mean, how good is Arch Manning?
I don't know. We haven't seen him.
Because I don't think Malik Murphy is very good right now.
I mean, he's
obviously the better option.
Right.
Than,
but, I mean, I just think at some point you got to change it up if you're Sark. I mean, you're on thin ice right now. You cannot afford a loss. So I think, if push came to shove, you might see a little bit of Arch Manning just to see if it's any better.
They were up 27-7 this past week.
And how did they lose that lead?
Turnovers,
by
interceptions, and fumbles.
So that's why I think it's a game if Malik Murphy's starting. He just hasn't proven to be a dependable enough quarterback for them to go win on the road like that.
Yeah. Texas A&M back at home where they have a chance against Mississippi State this weekend. 5-4 Texas A&M, 9 straight road losses, so they're back at home. They've got 3 SEC losses this year, but that's to Alabama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. Pretty good teams.
Still have to play LSU, so that's a better team than you are. But I don't know what a 4-4 does for him. I mean, if they win the rest of their games and lose to LSU and they're 4-4, what does that do for you?
Paul makes a good point on Arch Manning. Isn't ready yet. Played horrible high school competition. Probably still making the adjustment.
Well, I'll point out that his 2 brothers played the same high school competition.
Yeah, it took them a while.
They turned out pretty good, though. I'm willing to take the risk.
Tell us about Moore's Marinade.
Jimmy D, if you want to be the hero in the backyard this football weekend, you can do it with Moore's Marinade when you hit that grill. We got more great weather. I think it's in the 70s this weekend again, isn't it?
Yeah, 81 today.
Yeah, so you can hit the grill all week long. Take advantage of that nice weather out before a sunset at 4:30. You get the grill going with Moore's Marinades and Sauces. It is the secret for being the grilling hero. Moore's Original Marinades got lower sodium than the leading lower sodium marinade, but you do not sacrifice any flavor. Hickory flavor for everything. Burgers, chicken, steak, pork, even the veggies. And Moore's buffalo wing sauce adds the perfectly tangy flavor that keeps you licking your fingers even after the wings are gone. You can dip, you can drizzle, you can slather Moore's buffalo wing sauce on everything you eat, from chicken fingers to burgers, sandwiches, pizza, pasta, tacos, fries, and more. Grill masters prefer Moore's marinades and wing sauces. You should as well. See why. Get recipe ideas, get grilling inspiration online at mooresmarinades.com. That is mooresmarinades.com.
I will tell you that being a coach sometimes sucks. David Ross, former Auburn star, was coaching the Cubs, and he was coaching the Cubs through a rebuild from the Madden years, and then he takes over and all this young talent, and them reworking the roster and everything. He's having to manage them to get them ready. And I think Bobby from Homewood has said several times in the chat room that this upcoming season was supposed to be the destination. All the plans were working towards 2024. Well, what did David Ross do this past year? Until the final month of the season, he had them way ahead of schedule. And they were, at one point, very much in the playoff conversation. And now here we go. They fire him yesterday. He didn't know it was coming. And they hire Craig Counsell from inside their division in Milwaukee, who becomes the highest paid coach in Major League Baseball yesterday.
Boy, I just got to be crushing to Milwaukee Brewer fans, though, because this guy was beloved. And he is known or respected as one of the top 2 or 3 managers in all of Major League Baseball. I saw somebody in the chat earlier, I think it was Bobby, how they kept this so quiet is pretty amazing.
On both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides. Because David Ross didn't know he was getting fired. Nobody in baseball thought he was on the hot seat because they had overachieved with their roster this year. And then Counsell, nobody thought he was going to leave his franchise to go do this inside the division. But apparently they're promising Counsell not only all the money, 4 years, $80 million, but also they're promising him they're going to open up a checkbook and go get a lot of free agents.
Look,
just not Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, that was a great rotation this year. Milwaukee had a really good season. Obviously, they ran into a hot Diamondbacks team when they rolled into the postseason, but they should be really good next year. And I asked this question to Buster, and I've always thought it was weird with the money that baseball players make and the managers don't really make any money compared to other sports. But Craig Counsell's finally getting paid.
Well, do we know the number, though? Do we know what he's
I said it wrong. I said 480. It's 5 years, $40 million.
Wow.
But I mean, 8 a year. That's strong.
I mean, that because I think Buster told us Torrey was making 8 to 10 at the end,
Probably.
if I remember what Buster said.
And I think Dave Roberts was your highest paid going into this season.
Yeah.
Or one of the top 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild, though, because we don't really know what NFL coaches make.
I just hate
I
just hate the fact that Ross was getting you through the rebuild, and now it's time to sort of reap the benefits, and they're kicking him to the curb.
Yeah, and well liked too. I mean, that's when you're on, you're doing that too.
Absolutely. Won the World Series with him. Let's do trash, brought to you by Mortgage Right. Hit it, Rockstar.
I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available and guide you through every step of the process. For active military or veteran, VA loans can be a great way to help you purchase a home. Let Mortgage Right take care of everything from pre-qualifying process through closing. Their mortgage experts will work with you to find the best rate and loan program available. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Start first. St. Louis County man is being held in jail after allegedly threatening a fast food employee who got his order wrong.
Oh, no.
Guys, tell me if this is a little too extreme or not. There is James Jackson IV. He had placed an order at a sandwich shop, but when he got home, he apparently realized the order was wrong, called to complain. Not content to leave it at that, he came back to the store with his gun, threatened the 16-year-old employee working behind the counter.
I mean, you can't see the ticker, but M-I-Z?
Z-O-U. He was upset about the Georgia loss, clearly.
Quote, the victim told police that the man pointed the gun at him, threatened to shoot him, and said he would be back when the victim got off work, end quote.
I'm going to let you finish your shift.
Don't call the police. Don't warn them.
However, the teen instead reported the threat. St. Anne police were able to trace the angry customer due to his previous phone call about the order. When police visited, they found the gun was loaded, according to prosecutors. The defendant admitted that he had pulled out his gun in the sandwich shop, claiming that employees were laughing and talking, quote, crazy to him, which made him fear for his life. Yeah, let's flip this around on him.
You know, if I get a bad order at a drive-thru, I really don't even go to the trouble to call them and tell them I got a bad order, much less show back up with a gun.
They don't care.
No.
And if you actually go back, there's a good chance. I don't know.
Yeah, I just deal with it and move on, and I just don't go back. I mean, that's the way, like, if it's bad enough, I just never go back.
I just never go back.
I'm not going to call them and chew them out. I'm not going to, just don't go back.
And there's different levels of probation for me. Sometimes I never go back. Eventually, I do go back if I really like it. Sometimes,
you offered to go back to a place that I thought was dead to you the other day. We were talking about lunch, and you brought up a place, and I was like, Dunaway, that place is dead to you. I thought.
It is, only because you had a golf tee time. I was being nice
that is
to you.
True. I needed to stay by.
It was in the area.
Yeah. That's a
that
good
we're
point.
Talking about, but I did not. Point. We didn't go, and I will not go back.
Yeah.
Here are 5 mistakes to avoid when you're hosting Thanksgiving.
All right.
First one, don't mess with success. In a world saturated with Food Network programming, you don't need to wow your guests with a new menu. Just think cozy comfort food. That's the name of the game.
Is this supposed to be a photo of Thanksgiving, Rockstar?
It is a diverse Thanksgiving.
It ain't Thanksgiving. I don't know what you're showing us right there.
A huge-ass roll of French bread.
That is not Thanksgiving.
I love today's world.
There's rolls. There's turkey.
We're dressed. Do we do the photo shoot midsummer? Yeah, we did, but we're trying to fool you.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. If I get invited to a Thanksgiving, obviously I'm going to eat whatever you've got. I'm really, not. Don't try to wow me. No. I want a Thanksgiving meal.
No,
I've
got
not. An expectation.
If I was invited to somebody's Thanksgiving and that was the meal, I would thank them for the invite and tell them I got to be somewhere.
Yeah, but Brown, you don't know what else is there. I mean, there's a turkey and there's bread. That's on yours. You don't know down the line there may be sweet potato casserole.
There
may be devouring a strawberry.
Maybe some dressings.
Yeah. The girls eat a strawberry, don't they?
I mean, we're coming back around maybe to the appetizers or the frou-frou ending.
And Brown's right, man. I mean, she's wearing a summer-like strawberry and salmon shirt.
It is. I mean, maybe this is Thanksgiving in Key West.
Well, first of all, there's a salad bowl. There is no place for salad at Thanksgiving. That's rule number one.
Three types of bread.
We always start off with a salad.
Nobody wants salad at Thanksgiving. It's a waste of time.
I enjoy it because we get those little spicy walnuts on top of them.
Get salad any time of the year. I want my Thanksgiving food at Thanksgiving.
I guarantee you, whoever planned this photo shoot has got a hyphen in their last name.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another rule on Thanksgiving.
Hillary Clinton dicks.
Tell your guests what to bring and be specific. Let me know what to bring. Might sound helpful on the face, but actually burdens the host with more work.
Yeah.
If you just go ahead and bring whatever you like, which I'm guilty of saying a lot of times, they're saying this could result in 65 packages of napkins, 39 bottles of wine, or just some cheese and crackers.
Yeah, what's wrong with the 39 bottles of wine? 39 bottles of wine on the wall. 39 bottles of wine.
I think this next rule is important, too. Keep everyone away from the kitchen, because even the biggest, most beautiful home kitchens will get claustrophobic on Thanksgiving. It seems like everybody ends up in the kitchen.
Now, both my mom and my mother-in-law are fantastic about having a plate of finger food, like when you first get there. Maybe pigs in a blanket or crackers with that pepper jelly and cream cheese. I do too. I love those.
With wheat thins.
Yes, sir. And so that's good. And that keeps you from going and picking off the turkey and all that stuff. Keeps you out of the way.
My buddy Mike Kennedy, who I play golf with, makes a mean spicy jelly, mango.
Oh, I love that stuff,
jalapeno jelly.
Because the thing about Thanksgiving, I show up ready to eat. We don't have to have build up or anything. I show up ready to devour a meal. So let's go.
Yeah, it can be constant. I want it to be constant all day long. I want to eat all day.
Yep. Here's another one. I think this is important. Make it clear where the garbage is. How many times have you guys had to walk around an island looking for garbage?
Yep.
Set up a buffet. I don't know if I agree with this or not, but I think it is easier than having to do plating it for everyone.
No, I like everything.
Sitting at the table and it's nonstop passing.
And I think I like this. I like everything sitting on the island.
Right, and we walk through it.
Yeah, and let's kids and moms go first.
That's right.
And
moms help the kids.
Yeah, and normally, like either my mom or my mother-in-law, they're going to go last because they're making sure everything, the spoons are where they're supposed to be and all that. But I'm going to get my food, and I get it
to my house, I always go last.
Yeah, I try
Captain
to.
of the ship, man.
Yeah,
and I do like
Titanic.
I like to be able to get all the, if I want more dressing, I don't want a serving of dressing. I may want more dressing and less macaroni and cheese.
I tell you, my mom and my mother-in-law get Thanksgiving right. They really do it well, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because it's my favorite
I've started
meal.
to do it right just because of the New York Butcher Shop.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it is so simple.
We
Two
did New York
locations.
Butcher last year.
Yeah.
Because
I'll be doing it again this year. Okay. Since 2018, nearly all states have passed or entertained legislation that would drop the 2-a-year time shift. Now, this is states in favor of daylight saving time all year long. 19 states have passed laws or resolutions in support of a year-round daylight saving time, according to data from the National Conference of State Legislatures.
Yep.
Now, here's a caveat. Nothing can change until Congress addresses a 1960s-era law blocking such action. Now, the U.S. has been observing daylight saving time since 1918 when President Woodrow Wilson signed the Standard Time Act in a law under the premise that additional daylight hours could cut energy costs during World War I.
Yeah, it seems a bit antiquated, right?
Yeah. Then almost 50 years later, the Uniform Time Act of 1966 mandated states follow daylight saving use the same start and end date. The law means that states cannot use daylight saving year-round unless Congress first votes to change the federal law.
But Indiana and Wisconsin do it already, right?
Indiana, yes, they do not change. But that means, I think, if I'm not mistaken, sometimes they're on Central Time, sometimes they're on, or their time matches Central Time and Eastern Time.
Yeah.
And Arizona is the same way. There are a couple states. We've got to get universal on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know many people that want to sacrifice afternoon daylight for morning daylight. There's always going to be some.
Now,
why in the world am I driving to work in bright sunshine this morning at 6:15 a.m.? It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
And then it's dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
I agree
It
completely
makes
with
no
that.
sense
Here's
at
your
all.
only other option. States can excuse themselves from clock switching by sticking to standard time year-round. As a result, several parts of the country don't observe daylight saving time at all, including Hawaii, most of Arizona, U.S. territories of American, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands.
So they stay on the bad time all the time.
Yeah, but I think we need to get universal on this because, as Jesse says, there's parts of Indiana that are on Eastern Time and parts are on Central, and Alabama is the same way. Like if you go down to Phoenix City, Phoenix City is on fast time. They call it that down there, fast time and slow time. Like Phoenix City's on fast time to match up Georgia, and then just right outside Phoenix City, you're on slow time. I mean, how confusing is that going to be? Like, if I go downtown, all of a sudden it's an hour later? It's crazy.
So when it comes to avoiding unwanted male attention, researchers have found some frogs are taking a little drastic action. They appear to fake their death.
Some frogs?
Researchers say the findings shed new light on the European common frog, suggesting females do not simply put up with the male scramble for mates, a situation in which several males can end up clinging to a female, sometimes
sit right
fatally.
Here. Go ahead, honey, play dead.
Now,
I don't care.
Quote, it was previously thought that females were unable to choose or defend themselves against this male coercion. According to Dr. Dietrich, the first author of the study from the Natural History Museum of Berlin.
Look how horrified she looks. Her eyes are
Yeah, the results obtained from 54 females who experienced the clutches of a male revealed that 83% of females gripped by a male tried rotating their body.
Get off me!
It doesn't look like it's a ribbit for her satisfaction.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I mean,
that's pretty good.
What are you thinking about?
I mean, there's a frog that hops around the corner. It's like, oh, we don't need to see this, please.
Wait for it. Yeah. All right. You're good.
Rocky, we got an update here.
I think that's a sign that you take TCU in the points this weekend.
Is that a horned frog?
Yes.
Do you guys
One of them is.
Yes.
Remember the Somerset Gimp?
I do remember
I do
this.
now that I've seen the photo.
Somerset, Kentucky?
No. This is a self-employed gardener from Somerset. This is over the pond. It has been banned from dressing in an all-black gimp suit in public and at night. And from, quote, crawling, wriggling, or writhing on the ground for 5 years.
I got this one. Josh Payton, Pat Smith had a kid.
Oh, wow.
He's got a little Ben Leard in him, too.
A little Ben Leard, Yep. That was the third parent.
Joshua Hunt, this guy right here, 32 years old, has been given a sexual risk order. What is a sexual risk order?
Probably something you don't want.
Which also prevents him from wearing any type of mask covering, unless for medical reasons. Boy, that's bad if you've been banned from wearing a mask.
You've screwed it up.
On Halloween, we got to put an ankle bracelet on.
25 incidents committed by the so-called Somerset Gimp. It comes 1 week after Hunt was convicted on 2 offenses of intentionally causing harassment, alarm, or distress. They said he has, quote, terrified 2 female motorists in May of 2023.
Just lock him up.
Probably don't have enough to keep him in jail. That's going to be your problem right there.
You don't have to keep him overnight in that suit.
He's not necessarily touching people. He's just being a creep.
Yeah, but there's a gateway. There's something that this is going to lead to if it hasn't already.
Eventually,
I would island him already.
You want 2 pills.
I'd island him. I really would.
Yeah, I'm a Lance. I think maybe the island needs a Gimp.
Yeah. And I'd just let him walk around as the Gimp.
He can't work for 5 years, remember? He's got to pay his penance.
Oh, on the island, you do whatever you want. We don't really care.
Yeah, there are no rules anymore on the island. It's every man for himself.
It's a one-way ship, though.
That's the purpose of the island, is we just put them there and it weeds its way out.
Yeah. That's Trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, let our experts at Mortgage Right help get your financial house in order. The team of experts there can make sure you're prepared for anything that may come your way, including freeing up cash for things you need to get done. Take control today. Visit Mortgage Right at their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply. MortgageRight.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
It's been a while since we've had some Champy's chicken. I don't know when you guys have been down there last. It was like week 2, week 3 of the high school football season. Last time I had some, I'm craving it.
Well, he's dropping a heavy hint right there.
Seeing Sterling last Thursday at Bud Light game night, he said that whatever day we want the food brought by, he'll do it.
So good. You guys, if you've never tried it, swing by there, Highway 119 in Alabaster. For those of you that try it,
we need to do an office road trip.
Yeah, we really do.
Because I was telling somebody the other night how cool that location is. If you've never been before,
it is fun.
And he's had it there for over a decade. Right there on 119 in Alabaster. I call it a destination place for lunch, because if you're just looking for good Southern food and you have friends in town, you can get there for lunch or dinner, do it, and they'll walk away saying, man, that damn Champy's was good. That's Alabama eating right there. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go say hi to Sterling. We're back in a moment.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 in Hoover with walk-ons. The Next Round golf card is back and it's presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Redmont Vodka sound of the day will be on the Dallas Turner hit on Jaden Daniels. Before you tell us about Redmont, hats off to T-Bob, and you saw this on our social media last night, T-Bob Hebert, LSU analyst and former player, who said, man, it's part of the game. And he did not consider that to be a dirty hit on the LSU quarterback that eventually knocked him out and put him in concussion protocol. I appreciate T-Bob coming on and saying that. It would be very easy to play to a fan base and disagree with that. So I appreciate it.
I talked to an LSU fan yesterday afternoon after T-Bob was on with us, and they were like, man, that was targeting. I'm like, what were you going to get out of it?
Well, you weren't. I think the problem is, and, you know, a lot of the chat room will not agree with us. A lot of people watching and listening won't, but there's a perception Alabama gets the calls. There's nothing that supports that. In fact, you can go right back to the Alabama-Tennessee game last year and what I thought was a worse hit on Bryce Young that didn't get a flag. Didn't even get roughing, much less targeting.
I think it happened in the Texas game, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think officials miss calls everywhere. I don't think it was any nefarious plan to protect Alabama. I think that's silly because, to Lance's point, what are you protecting Alabama from? I mean, you got 15 yards. Like you said, that's all you were going to get.
That was the maximum. Dallas Turner would have been out of the game.
Yeah, with one drive left, he's out of the game.
But Jaden Daniels is the
Jaden Daniels also would have been out of the game.
Didn't bring him back in the game.
That's right. So that was going to change nothing in that game. Your only argument would be Alabama gets all the calls, which, again, you have to ignore some history to believe that narrative, that Alabama gets all the calls.
Here's Jalen Milroe on what he thought of the hit.
Yeah, lots been made about Dallas's roughing the passer call on Jaden Daniels. From a quarterback perspective, I don't know if you've gone back and seen it. Did you think that's just a good football hit, or did you think there was anything else there to, maybe in the quarterback perspective?
Yeah, well, football is made to be physical. I'm sure I got hit a couple times. I looked at the ref like, you ain't gonna call nothing. So that's football. You gotta get up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at the next play, because I'm glad that wasn't me on the field. I tell you that.
And to T-Bob's point, he was like, I wish somebody had hit Jalen Milroe like that. That's football.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to destroy the opponent.
Now, we'll get to the other side of the coin here after LT tells us about Redmont Distilling.
Yeah, 8 times distilled, gluten-free. Pick up a bottle this week. Redmont Vodka, locally owned and operated product. Fantastic stuff. Available in 22 states. If they don't have it where you are, bar or restaurant, ask for it by name. If they don't have it, tell them to get it. It's Redmont Vodka.
Can I just say one more thing about Turner? I think they should have called a personal foul. I had no problem with them calling a personal foul, but he actually could have been worse on that. He didn't. I mean, he drove him into the ground, but, I mean, he could have lifted him and driven him worse. If you watch, when they hit the ground, he rolls off a little bit.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was a body weight tackle. I have no problem with the flag. But I'm saying if he really was trying to
plant him,
he could have planted him a lot worse than he actually did.
Now, Lane Kiffin is on the same subject. At his news conference, he mentioned it Sunday, and he doubled down again on Monday about a team. It doesn't even involve Lane's team, but he has a comment on it.
Of course.
The protection of the quarterback, and I just think that's a different one. I think that should be the highest concern always, because the quarterback throws from a different position than other players and is vulnerable to hits. And I've just always thought that should be more like the NFL, and they should be very protected because they play a really hard spot. And, when quarterbacks get hurt, you see programs that have all these other things in place can play all of a sudden the team's completely different. I was asked yesterday by you guys about the LSU Alabama hit. I don't know how that's not targeting, and if it's not, I think you got a problem that's okay, and that defensive players watch, I can do that, and I can stay in a game and take the other team's quarterback out. That's an issue.
What do you think of that? Now, he's saying if that's not called targeting, then my defensive guys can see that and take out the other team's quarterback, and it's not going to be called.
So what is he saying his guys would do?
The same level hit that Dallas Turner had on another quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's very broad. I mean, because to me, and if you call this targeting, that's fine. But to me, it looked like face mask made contact first.
Right here.
Head of the top of the helmet definitely hit the chin. You cannot argue that, right? Did he launch himself in an upward thrust? That's one of the indicators of targeting. I did not think he did. He did leave his feet, but he did not launch himself head first or an upward thrust. He did not lead with the crown of his helmet. To me, it was a very hard hit where his face mask hit the breastplate first and the helmet hit the chin. The top of the helmet hit the chin. If your guys are good enough to aim there, then I would suggest they aim there. If they're not going to call it targeting, that's the place. I mean, face mask to the breastplate's where you're taught to hit, right?
Yeah, I said yesterday that I didn't have a problem with it either way. I mean, I thought it was that close. I wouldn't have been shocked if it would have been called targeting.
No doubt.
I don't necessarily have a problem that it wasn't.
What do you think about Lane commenting like that, though?
Alabama lives in his head. And help me out with an analogy. Somebody that is married but in love with somebody else's wife. He fascinates and just dwells on Alabama nonstop. And I don't know if it lives in his head.
Yeah, he does. I mean, there's a lot of that because it's Alabama. I don't disagree with Lance. He brought it back up too. Like he's like, you guys asked me about it yesterday, so let me bring it back up here, right? I mean, we didn't hear the question there, but it didn't sound like he was specifically asked in that particular question about the Alabama play. That they were talking about quarterback again, and he brought it back up.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about unwritten rules or coach's code and stuff like that. That does seem like if I was Nick Saban and I hear another coach bringing it back up in his news conference in a game he's not even involved in, and specifically naming that play. You asked me about the quarterback hitting the Alabama LSU game. I think I'd have a few words with him next time we're in a room together. I'd bring that up.
Well, I mean, he's not been more critical about any coach out there than Jimbo Fisher. I mean, Lane Kiffin, you say Alabama lives in his head, which they do. He tears up Jimbo Fisher. And, it was super, super awkward Saturday before the game, but they still did the handshake and half hug and stood there and talked for a minute.
Yeah, it looked like Jimbo was trying not to do it.
100%.
And then Lane was standing there. He finally gave in.
He was going to linger until it happened.
Does it seem like the only coach in the SEC he definitely gets along with is Kirby?
And they play each other this weekend. It's such a big game. They are good friends.
There's been no back and forth between those two.
Give me cut 11. Kirby talked about that. He got asked about that, by the way. Yeah. So let's get it in right here. As he's pulling it up, give us Hemphill brings us the Lance's Lock every day. Our friends at Hemphill Services. Go play lanceslock.com. 5 winners last night. He's got more plays tonight, including a play on the Auburn and Baylor game tonight in basketball.
For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemphill Services, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train right now, $69 fall tune-up. Just mention the next round when you call 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Here's Kirby Smart. Hit it, Rocky.
I know you guys have a very good friendship, as you said prior, but, we haven't seen as many tweets from him. I know you guys like to go back and forth a little bit. How much would a win, especially over someone that you're good friends with and maybe have a little bragging rights over, how much would a win mean against someone like Lane and Ole Miss?
Not any more than it would have last week. I mean, we're not going to build it up to be something it's not. I mean, every win in the SEC is critical. It's critical for them. They're in a hunt. They're in the hunt for the West. They're in a hunt for playoffs. They're in a hunt for all the goals and aspirations they have. So it's not about he and I. It's really about the players and the guys that got to go out on the field and make plays.
Yeah. This is the miserable Kirby state. This is Kirby as Nick Saban a couple of years ago. So you got about 8 to 10 years of Kirby being miserable.
Yeah, the misery being I'm winning every single game, and everybody tries to find a storyline in every game, and I have to keep telling you.
It can't be just about his defensive line,
and I have
to
keep telling you guys there is no storyline in this game. I'm going to treat Ole Miss the way I treat Chattanooga, the way I treat Alabama, the way I treat Florida. It's the next game on the schedule.
And we've lived through it. I mean,
that's what Len's saying, yeah.
In the middle of a 26-game winning streak, you sit there and you're like, I mean, we should be talking about Alabama, but, man, it's a lot more interesting to talk about these other teams that are either over-exceeding or underachieving.
Because you didn't have to play Kirby's answer. If you just played the question, I could have answered that question for Kirby. There is zero chance Kirby Smart is going to make any game seem bigger than another game.
Yeah, Kirby's been really, I mean, for the most part, accessible with us, personable with us. He has become, in these press conferences, I mean, it's
but
just...
I understand why.
I do, too. I mean, in today's world with social media, you got to be like this, but it's become kind of boring.
His post games have become a little more interesting. He was talking about Dan Mullen not recruiting anymore, and then after the Missouri game, made a joke about Tyler from Spartanburg, which I thought was kind of funny. The fact that story even made it back to Kirby, that he was familiar enough to use the phrase Tyler from Spartanburg, which he did in his post game after the Missouri
win. Have we heard anything about, because I'm totally convinced that Dabo will invite him to a game. But has anything come up since the big win for Dabo this past weekend?
I have not seen anything on. I did joke with Lunsford that I wish we had come out with Tyler from Spartanburg T-shirts and tried to sell those. There was something that popped yesterday that I was like, oh, man, I wish we could get a T-shirt out real quick. But I don't know how many we'd sell, but there's occasional phrases that pop out really quick.
There are a lot of people that are convinced that was an inside job. Tyler from
Spartanburg. That was a growing thing, right?
Yeah, I just don't think Dabo's that good of an actor. I mean, that was exceptional acting by Dabo if that's an inside job.
There's no way it was inside.
I don't think so either. But after the way they played, a lot of people were like, see, it had the exact desired performance or desired result.
I think
Dabo sounded too pissed off.
That's what I'm saying. He's not that good an actor.
And I do think he was so prepared for somebody to sooner or later ask him that.
Yeah.
And he was going to have this rant when it came up.
Because he had the whole thing ready to go.
Boy, he had the stats ready to roll.
He did. All right, that's our show today. Don't forget basketball tonight. Auburn tips off its season against number 20 Baylor in a pretty cool venue, the Pentagon, up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So,
Auburn favored now. Really? They are. Auburn's -1.5.
What's happened here, do you think?
I think smart money is walking to the window and playing the Tigers.
That's a pretty big flip around, isn't it?
So it's gone from -2 when Forster told me exposed.
Yeah, Auburn's 1.5.
And now Auburn's a betting favorite tonight.
Where do you actually have it bet, not with Lance?
I'm giving 2, and I never clicked that button.
Yeah.
I never clicked that button in my bookie to adjust the line for you. You can click a button that'll move the line for you.
Well, I'm looking right here on my
it'd
bookie.
probably be a complete disaster for both of us. Auburn will win by 1. Yeah. Our official number will be Auburn 1.5. You'll lose all yours. At least I get a stake out of it.
MyBookie.ag, Auburn favored 1.
Oh, but ours is straight up. We've already made ours straight up.
I know, that's what I'm saying. At least I would get a stake out of it.
You would get a stake out of it. I'm hungry for a steak. Let's go have lunch. All right, that's the show. Bama and Bourbon's our overtime today. Bama and Bourbon. I don't know why I'm saying it with surprise face.
Bama and Bourbon.
It is Bama and Bourbon with Aaron Suttles and LT talking a little Bama football. You get that without even having to change anything. Don't change that dial. Rip off the knobs, all that stuff. We're back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Another edition of Bama and Bourbon with Aaron Suttles from Yale, Alabama. I'm Lance Phillips for the next round, and we talk a little Alabama football. We talk bourbon. Big win for Alabama, 42, LSU 28, and now you can start to at least see light at the end of the tunnel of possibly playing for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, you were the odds maker, not me, but what odds would you have put Alabama to win the SEC West after South Florida? Just no conference games at that point, but it didn't.
I don't know. The only thing going for them is you've got Jimbo, you've got Lane, who's having a great year right now, but I'm just waiting for him to blow it somehow. Tried everything he could to blow it on Saturday.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
But I did think LSU was going to be a lot better than they are. LSU, and I made the comparison, I mean, you've got two incredible quarterbacks right now in Caleb Williams and Jade Daniels.
Unbelievable.
And they do everything they can to win games, and the defense just doesn't hold up.
I mean, Alex Grinch gets fired. Might as well have been on the tarmac after that performance.
Yeah.
But, yeah, LSU being that bad defensively when you got Mason Smith and you got Harold Perkins, and I know they got a ton of injuries in the secondary. Well, what Brian Kelly said today, I don't know if you guys covered this on the next round, but him saying, looking back on it, we should have put a spy on Jalen Milroe. Oh, how about during the game doing it? I mean, unreal.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's kind of like Alabama last year against Tennessee. Like the lack of in-show adjustments on some of these, it doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. I mean, what was Alabama like? Something 11-14 on third downs or something?
Bama was 11-14 on third downs.
Figure it out, man.
Yeah.
Which is something I've
507 total yards against an LSU defense. I know it's not a good defense,
It's
but
still LSU.
I just never thought. And in year two, you're seeing coaches like Dan Lanning and Caleb DeBoer. They've got their teams in a mix to win a championship, and I thought you would say the same things about Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, and lack of defense has just killed both those programs.
When LSU went so heavily into the portal in the defensive backfield, it signaled something.
Yep.
Now, sometimes you can cure what ails you through the portal, but I think they brought in 4 corners. Not a good sign.
No. So Bama and bourbon today. We're drinking the Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye Tennessee Rye Whiskey. It's bottled in bond, uniquely crafted rye grain bill that opens with notes of dried fruit, lingering hints of toffee, imparting a bold, complex, and balanced taste with a spiced rye finish. It's pretty good. I mean, look, this product goes way back. Jack Daniel's, I mean, for your novice drinker, it might be like
Safe.
Yeah, it is safe, but it might be like the first bourbon I remember. This and like Jim Beam as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Daniel's, like, before bourbon really took off and got popular, before everybody gets out there, it's a whiskey.
Yeah,
we
it's a
know
whiskey,
that,
right.
but this is called Bama and bourbon, so stick with us. But that's a lot of people's first. Like, they've been in the game a long time.
Yeah.
They're not Johnny come lately.
You know, and normally I do prefer bourbon because their charcoal filtration, the way they actually make this product, and it flavors it up, and a lot of people actually dig that. I like the rye actually better than the regular Jack Daniels.
I just remember I had some good times in college with Jack Daniels.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, how could you not?
Well, we made a trip to Oxford one year, and there's a restaurant there where you can bring your own liquor in a paper bag, and you can pour it at the table. That was a long weekend.
Yeah. Speaking of long weekends, man, so this is my third game I went to this year.
Which is unusual for you, right?
Yeah,
you don't usually go to that many games.
So I went Georgia and Auburn, Bama, Tennessee, and then this past weekend. And to me, it's just too much. Like, if I was a diehard Bama fan, I mean, look, I can see why people get so excited because the game day, I had friends
from
California. They were like, and this dude was like, this is by far the best. And he's been to different campuses all over, and he's like, this is by far the best atmosphere out there.
Listen, I hammer on the fans at Bryant Denny Stadium when they're not good. I will give them hats off. The last 2 games have not just been good, it's been incredible. And I got a theory behind that, Lance. I think Alabama fans took winning for granted.
Yeah.
Because they were so dominant for so long. They didn't stay for the entire game. They had to be implored by the head coach to stay around for 4 quarters. They had a campaign to keep fans in the stands for 4 quarters. Well, now they don't know that they're going to win every week. So when they do win, they're excited, and they're having an impact on the game. That atmosphere Saturday night was incredible.
Yeah, and so it goes back, like when I was, and I'm back on the Lakers bandwagon. I pulled off last year. LeBron was wearing me out for whatever reason, but I'm back now.
I got you.
But back in the early 2000s, when they three-peated with Kobe and Shaq, they got so freaking good. And, there was one postseason where I think they went 15-1 in the postseason. But as a Lakers fan, a lot of those games just got boring.
Yeah.
And the predictability about knowing going into a season, you're more than likely going to win a championship.
It takes some of that genuine enthusiasm, excitement, raw emotion out of it.
Yeah, and look, man, that game 21-21 at half. Jaden Daniels goes down, big hit by Dallas Turner. Targeting, non-targeting, I could have gone either way for me.
I didn't think it was targeting, but I wouldn't have been up in arms if it had been called targeting. I think there was no intent.
But here's the thing. They're not going to win the game even if he doesn't go down. I mean, they were down 14.
Think so. That interception pretty much sealed their fate.
And, I think it might have gotten more interesting, probably a one-possession game if he doesn't go down. They just weren't stopping Alabama. They weren't stopping Jalen Milroe.
No, and, the only thing that kept them in that game was Will Reichard missing 2 field goals.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's probably a bigger blowout. Jalen Milroe was incredible. Alabama was unbelievably efficient on third down. We've talked about him, Lance, but it's time to give some props to Jaden Roberts. 77, offensive lineman, right guard. He's a mauler. And he should have been starting from day one based on what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that offensive line is completely transformed. That's not the best case to judge them versus LSU, but they are much more equipped to run it down your throat and play physical football with him in it.
It's been such an interesting season, though. I mean, because you look up and they're 8-1, and they're 6-0 in the SEC.
Yeah.
And you go back to that one really bad fourth quarter against Texas. Outside of that, that was, to me, a complete 60 minutes of football. Nick Saban said as much after the game, and you could say what you want about LSU taking the early lead and scoring 21 at half and being tied, but that LSU offense is dynamic.
They got receivers. Did you see the interaction between Jalen Milroe and Malik Neighbors at midfield? Jalen rather comes up to him and said, "You're a bad bleep."
Yeah. I wish I had one of you.
Yeah, game respects game. And look, I tweeted this. I can't remember if I tweeted it yesterday or today. Alabama's got some pretty good guys on offense, skill-wise, that we had question marks about. Yeah. We hadn't seen them showcased a ton just because of the way this offense has slowly grown. But Kendrick Law is one of those guys. Kendrick Law, a lot of people are comparing him to, in terms of stature and quick twitch ability, I do think he's got some Deebo Samuel to him.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great comparison because he is a physical guy, but his ability to return kicks too.
Yeah. They have got to find touches. And Tommy Rees, I asked Nick Saban this today, this offense is getting more multiple. Now, obviously they're coming off playing a horrible defense, but they're doing things, and it seems like they're just taking another step every week. Jalen looks more comfortable running the ball than he ever has.
Yeah.
I mean, you got installed the triple option, the quarterback sweep, that when he has a feel for taking off and running now. And I think Jermaine Burton has been great. Isaiah Bond's probably been their best overall receiver from year to year. You throw Kendrick Law, we're getting the jet sweep now. Jam Miller had a role in that game. We're seeing some weapons that we
big
didn't
reception from Jam Miller. So it's Bama and Bourbon. We do this every single week on Roll Tide Pods. Like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up. We really appreciate that. We talk Bama, we talk bourbon. We are sampling right now the Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye, Tennessee Rye Whiskey. What is this, 100 proof? It is a 100 proof.
Good call.
That's actually a smooth 100 proof, actually.
Not bad.
So good stuff here. Tell us about Yay Alabama. If you want more playmakers, you want more Caleb Downs with 13 tackles. How can people get involved?
Yeah, yay-alabama.com/fans. There's a donation level for every comfort level that you have in your life. And Alabama has got guys like Caleb Downs, Justice Haynes, and that recruiting class, let's be honest, that's the way that you get those guys to campus these days. And Alabama's got some big-name members of this recruiting class that NIL is going to help a lot with. So make sure you're going on and supporting, because what I saw Saturday night in the stadium was joy. The way that you can give yourself joy is helping the athletic department, help keep bringing great players in across the board.
So I think one turnover for Jalen Milroe in the last 4 games, something like that.
Man, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's protecting the football. I think he's becoming a pretty good quarterback, and you mentioned his ability now just to take off and know his spots, when to run. And for him to go 155, 4 touchdowns, you start to, I want to jump ahead to next year. Yeah. I mean,
man, it's a tougher decision. I've been thinking about that.
I mean, because now, this guy's not losing games. He's actually playing winning football.
It becomes a strength.
I wonder what the future for Jalen Milroe is. Man,
it's
because I guarantee there's 90% of the programs out there that will line up to take him.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there are going to be people come calling this offseason. And he had one play that man, it spoke volumes to me in terms of his feel for the game right now. It's one of the scrambled touchdowns, and he breaks contain up the middle, and he's got a wide receiver sort of in the left flat. And instead of just going straight up the field vertically, he sort of widens his route to make that defensive back go over and cover him, and then shot it right up the middle. And I'm like, he did that on purpose. He set that defensive player up. He is playing really confident.
Yeah, and we talked about, a month or so ago, if the game ever slows down, he's got the physical skills to be really good.
You see how fast he was?
Yeah. Oh.
I mean,
I wonder who is faster, him or Jaden Daniels, though, because Daniels can fly.
No, Daniels, because he's gliding. He does. And Alabama had a spy on him and still couldn't touch him.
Yeah, he's such a special player, and I never thought he would be this good. I
didn't either.
Yeah, watching him at Arizona State, and I was like, you're going to transfer struggling to Arizona State to play in the SEC, and I mean, he's been dominant.
He's been incredible.
And now they're dead and buried at 6-3 though.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he comes back and plays this week. I don't know what the concussion protocol is, and
I hope, again, back to Caleb Williams, you wonder when some of these guys that are playing so well, once they get a third, fourth loss, when they shut it down.
Unfortunately, that's a part of the discussion now, but it's real.
It is. Hey, Bama and Bourbon brought to you by our friends at The Beverage Place, located next to the PGA Superstore on Highway 280. Pink Package, located across from the Target next to Arby's on Highway 280. One-stop shop for liquor, beer, seltzers, wines, sodas, mixers, cigars, ice, even fresh lemons and limes. Get in and see JJ Chan. Great staff, those two locations. We always appreciate their support of Bama and Bourbon. So now you got Kentucky.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this is, Devin Leary's a quarterback that does have a lot of experience. He hasn't played great this year. Up until this past week, and they got a get-right game against Mississippi State, which I think everybody does. I don't know how good Kentucky is, but it is a road game. It's a sleepy 11 o'clock game. You're coming off a major emotional high here, beating LSU, and you're only a 10.5-point favorite.
It's not a good spot.
It's really
I think they call it a trap game.
Yeah, I think you would, right now, an Alabama fan would take a 17-16 ugly win.
Win the game. This is a maturity game for Alabama to see where this team is maturity-wise. You mentioned they got 2 big wins in a row. Fortunately for Alabama, they had the bye week after Tennessee to get right mentally. Well, this week, they're going to be reading how great they are. I mean, some people are even talking Heisman for Jalen Milroe after that game. But that's not realistic, really, probably, but it's that kind of stuff that they're reading about themselves. And everyone's feeling great. You got to go on the road. And one thing we know about Mark Stoops' teams is they're not going to match you talent for talent, but they're physical.
Yeah.
And they're hard-nosed and they don't quit. So it's going to be a line of scrimmage game. And right now, you just take a win and hopefully no injuries, because they're probably, even though he's day-to-day questionable, probably going to be without Deontay Lawson, probably without Jalen Key. Got a couple injuries, and so you win this game. Wrap up the West is done. Get ready for Auburn.
I'm one of those guys that was guilty of saying, if you get by LSU, then it seems like the path is much easier to get back to Atlanta and get in a one-game situation with Georgia. And I'm like you, it is a major maturity game to see if these guys really can get it together, because I think Ole Miss is going to lose this weekend to Georgia.
Yeah, I think so. I think they got the potential to score on Georgia, but Georgia's rounding into form at the right time.
Yeah, but with what we've got coming down the stretch, you really can't afford another loss to get into a college football playoff.
And listen, I'm not convinced that they win their next 4 games they get in.
Yeah, I think they will.
They probably
will.
Now,
if it's to them in Texas, obviously they won't. But
which is weird. If I want to get your opinion on this, if Alabama and Texas played right now, Texas isn't playing their best football.
No.
And Alabama can be argued is. That's Alabama's probably still favored in that game.
Right? Yeah. I think if the game's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama's probably a 6-point favorite now. Yeah. Especially with Malik Murphy at quarterback. Yeah, I think Alabama would beat them now.
I do too.
Yeah, it was one quarter.
I'm taking nothing away. If Texas won that game, a 10-point in a row.
But if you're on that committee and you've got a 12-1 Texas and a 12-1 Bama,
you take Texas.
You got to take Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think Oregon, as much respect as we get to the Pac-12, if you got 12-1 Oregon and 12-1 Bama, I think Bama just beating Georgia will get in over Oregon.
Because I think Oregon's going to beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Oregon is the best team right now. I think the best 4 teams in college football are Michigan, Oregon,
Florida State.
No.
You go.
We go Michigan, Georgia, Oregon, Alabama.
Alabama's playing really good football, and I tell you that they're feeling confident about themselves.
I don't think anybody wants to play them right now.
Would you?
Nope.
No.
I
wouldn't either.
No, because this defense is. Anybody that holds LSU to 28 points, that is a win. Like we said that last week. Alabama doesn't hit. I think we said 30 plus.
I think we said first team to 31.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
That was it. So you're more worried about moving forward, more worried about Kentucky or Auburn?
Auburn. Just because it's Auburn.
And they're getting better.
And I sat in Jordan-Hare Stadium and watched a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback held to 3 points for 59 minutes. Weird things happen in that stadium, and they're not a joke defensively. And Alabama has been inconsistent offensively in that environment, which we know is going to be raucous. I mean, if I told you right now how many false starts is Alabama going to have that game, probably a few.
Yeah.
So, it's Auburn. You never know what's going to happen in that game.
Yeah, and weird bounces. Oh, yeah. Weird bounces in Jordan-Hare, and you're not turning the football over right now. I could see this. I think if the game is next week, Alabama's probably listed as a 8 to 10 point favorite. That's still scary, man.
Listen, I think one facet of the game that can help Alabama the most going forward is they've gotten basically nothing out of punt return for the last few games.
With Kool-Aid?
With Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And I think at some point they're going to need to flip the field from him.
Yeah. It's Bama and Bourbon here on Roll Tide Pods. Like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up. And it's always brought to you by our friends at Gutter Cap. Cap it, don't snap it. Chris Stewart's been in business over 20 years. GutterCapBirmingham.com. He'll come out, patent aluminum panel system over your existing gutter. You'll never clean the gutters again. Cap it, don't snap it. 205-823-2212. I don't know how good Kentucky is. I mean, you think Bama fans travel? I mean, they typically do.
Curious about that. I think.
I mean, the Bourbon Trail helps.
The Bourbon Trail being there, and Alabama hasn't played there since 2013, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a trip it's a good road trip. Lexington's a good town.
Yeah.
And so
we talked about going, and I kind of dropped the ball on that. And I'm glad now after the long
party
weekend
guy over here.
Gosh, and it almost absolutely killed me. Shout out to Johnston RV. We had that RV. Ralph, our driver, we had at one time, I think, 10 of us in the RV.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It's a lot, man. The older you get, walking tailgate to tailgate.
It stacks up on you.
It really does. But that would, I mean, I've been up there one time to Lexington. I thought it was an awesome college town.
Yeah, it is.
Good fans. And that was back when, who was the head coach? Might have been Joker Phillips. I don't know. You probably were at that game. It was like 2003, 2004-ish.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah. Well, they got. Hey, look, their attention's about to turn to basketball. So if Alabama fans can take over the stadium, because again, if Alabama shows up and dominates,
watch out.
Watch out.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think Bama's going to find a way to win this game. I think it's going to be the other side. I think it's going to be kind of an ugly,
sleeping.
Yeah, back and forth.
Let's get the W.
Milroe against this defense, maybe turn it over a couple of times. Of course, their defense outside of this Mississippi State game had been struggling in 3 consecutive losses. So I don't know how good Kentucky is right now. I don't think this is his best version.
I don't either. And Georgia ran the ball on him. And I'm not saying Alabama's Georgia up front, but they're playing well right now. So. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Okay, Yay Alabama one more time, how they can get involved there.
Yeah, yay-alabama.com/fans. Look at the memberships. Recommend them for holidays, for friends, because this is the way that we keep great players coming to Alabama.
Okay, injury front.
Yeah, we got Deontay Lawson's got an ankle. You got Jalen Key has got a hamstring. So I would imagine that, and this is no inside information, just my take on what they've got coming up. I don't, and they had the Deontay Lawson earlier in the year, so they've played without him. So I would be surprised if he played this week.
Alabama basketball actually tips it off this week too.
Tonight, yeah.
I know Alabama fans are excited about that. Morehead State tonight. If you're just catching this,
and Indiana State, Larry Bird's alma mater on Friday.
Yeah. Our very own Jim Dunaway will be doing that game, by the way.
Oh, how about that, Jimmy D?
Yeah,
Let's
Jimmy
go.
D will be on it. I think because it's an early 11 o'clock kick. Broadcast team, so Jim and Brian Pasick will be doing that Friday night.
Yeah. Love it.
I don't know anything about Indiana State.
I don't either. Look, I'm going to go back to Tuscaloosa today because I want to see this team. I think it's not going to be last year. I think get that out of your head. That was a generational talent in Brandon Miller, who's doing pretty well in the NBA, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot of talent lost off of last year's team, but there's some talent coming in. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I mean, Nate Oates, it'll be a fun product to watch. Yeah. So that gets going, and we'll continue this show, and we'll, once we transition out of football season, we'll get into basketball, but a lot of football left, 3 regular season games for Alabama fans, hopefully the SEC championship, and who knows?
Had to be a meltdown for them not to make Atlanta.
I would agree with you.
They got lose to, and Ole Miss has to beat Georgia.
Yeah. So
where would you put the odds of that?
Oh my gosh, not staggering.
Yeah, long odds, right?
Staggering, yeah. Like, I would put almost everything I own if I could just go even money. Then Alabama gets past that. I mean, I think Alabama wraps it up this weekend.
I do too.
I mean, if you had the perfect storm of Georgia loses and Alabama loses, then all bets are off.
Because you're a Lakers fan, I'm gonna put this on your radar. Not predicting anything. The Lakers are in New Orleans for the same time that Alabama would be playing potentially in the college football playoff in New Orleans.
Damn.
Just saying.
So you've already looked ahead to schedules.
I've looked because my buddies.
What is that day? Is that New Year's Eve?
I have to look, but I think the Lakers are in town. I think the Nets will be in town during that college football playoff game.
Wow.
So how about that?
Yeah, last time I was over in New Orleans, I went and saw the Pelicans for a game.
Last year, when Alabama was in the Sugar Bowl, I went and watched the Pelicans and the 76ers. So it's a good time.
Yeah, no. Smoothie King Center.
Yeah. We had great seats.
Yeah. And look, they've got a better product than they had the last
Hey,
time.
and you got an Alabama product, Herb Jones, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so Bama and Bourbon, special thanks to our friends at Beverage Place and Pink Package, Jack Daniels Bonded Rye. Good product.
Yeah, I like it.
It's one of the classics. So that's going to do it for us. Like, subscribe on RollTidePods.com for Aaron Suttles and Lance Taylor. We'll do it again next week.